Chapter 1622. Tian Mujiao led 2 patrol envoys to drive the carriage out of the city, heading straight for the city gate. Not far from the city gate, Xiao Zhu and 5 others were hiding in a corner, waiting for the commotion to escalate so that they could take Tian Mujiao away. However, there was a large group of patrol envoys guarding the city gate. Anyone who entered or left would be subject to strict scrutiny. No one dared to provoke the patrol envoys and Tian Muxuan's anger. There was a large group of souls and ghosts that wanted to enter and leave the city gate. The city gate was in a mess. Tian Mujiao ordered the patrol envoys to force their way through, hoping to disrupt the deployment. Go, go, go. Boom. In an instant, the city gate was in chaos. Stop. Otherwise, we'll kill you. Impudent. The patrol envoys guarding the city gate were furious. If the carriage didn't belong to the city lord manor, they would have attacked long ago. They tried their best to suppress their anger, but they still drew their swords. Scram! How dare you block my carriage? Do you want to die? Tian Mujiao opened the curtains and scolded. Everyone's expression changed when they saw the unruly princess. They all looked at Elder Huang, who was standing at the city gate. Elder Huang didn't expect this unruly princess to come out at this time. He quickly walked forward and said, "Princess Jiao, a criminal escaped from the city. We need to be on guard. Please don't make things difficult for us servants." "I'm not making things difficult for you. I just want to leave the city. Do you think that the criminal will be in my carriage? Or do you think that I'm in cahoots with the criminal?" Tian Mujiao scolded. "I wouldn't dare. This old man doesn't dare to think that way. I'm just worried that the criminal will use your carriage to escape. Please get off the carriage and let us check it to ensure your safety." Elder Huang bowed and said. "What if I don't?" Tian Mujiao's attitude turned cold. Elder Huang was silent. He signaled one of the patrol envoys to invite Tian Muxuan over. He then said, "Princess Jiao, please don't make things difficult for us. If you don't cooperate, there will be more and more people here. Your journey will also be delayed. It's always others who cooperate with me. You're quite bold, old man. You want me to cooperate with you? Are you going to ask my father to cooperate with you?" Tian Mujiao was a bit angry. Her true nature was gradually revealed, and her eyes were filled with killing intent. However, Elder Huang wanted to find Emperor Ye's complete soul. He resisted the pressure and was 100% certain that Emperor Ye's soul was in Tian Mujiao's carriage. Even if he offended Tian Mujiao, he could not let her carriage leave just like that. Elder Huang waved his hand and a large group of inspectors surrounded the carriage. The 2 patrol envoys on the carriage obeyed Tian Mujiao's orders. They drew their swords and confronted the patrol envoys below the carriage. "How dare you surround this lady's carriage?" Tian Mujiao flew into a rage, as if she had forgotten her mission. She directly ordered, "Get out of my way. Otherwise, I'll beat you to death." "Princess Jiao, this is no small matter. Please cooperate with the investigation. If there is no fugitive in the carriage, this old man is willing to apologize," Old Huang said in a cold voice. "Insolent. Kill him." Tian Mujiao's eyes flashed coldly. She waved her hand and shouted ruthlessly. The sky suppressor standing outside the city charged in under Xiao Zhu's lead. Their swords were like rainbows, and they were extremely ruthless. They killed every patrol envoys they saw. Boom, boom. The city gate was in a mess. Some souls were killed and the ghosts were killed. There were countless casualties. A group of people fled out of the city. Xiao Zhu and the others opened up a path in front of the city gate. Yi Qinghan blended in with the sky suppressor. However, he did not fight. Instead, he took advantage of the chaos to escape Reincarnation City. Soon, Xiao Zhu killed all the patrol envoys who blocked his way. He jumped onto Tian Mujiao's carriage and pointed at the crowd. He said coldly, "You dare to block Princess Jiao's carriage and even draw your swords? Are you trying to rebel?" Elder Huang's expression changed. He did not expect Xiao Zhu to attack. What was the sky suppressor? They were the imperial guards of Emperor Tianmu. They represented the existence of Emperor Tianmu. If they attacked, who would dare to stop them? Rustle, rustle, rustle. The patrol envoys retreated quickly. However, they still blocked the city gate. No one could escape. At this moment, Tian Muxuan appeared in front of everyone. He stared at Tian Mujiao's carriage with a sinister smile. He said to himself, "Let's see how you're going to argue this time." Rustle, rustle. Tian Muxuan led a dozen powerful patrol envoys and rushed to the carriage. He glared at Tian Mujiao and said, "Tian Mujiao, how dare you be so presumptuous in the main city? You ordered the sky suppressor to attack the patrol envoys. If father finds out about this, no matter how much he favors you, I can't guarantee that he won't punish you. Are you trying to scare me? I'm not afraid. Today, it was your people who attacked me first. I want to know if father will kill all of your subordinates if he finds out that they offended their superiors. As for you, you better pray for yourself," Tian Mujiao mocked disdainfully. What was the reincarnation city lord most afraid of? He was afraid of offending his superiors. What's more, the city lord's son's soldiers tried to assassinate Tian Mujiao, the most favored princess. Tian Muxuan's expression darkened. He looked at Elder Huang and found that his gaze was unusually firm. It was as if he was certain that Emperor Ye's soul was in the carriage. He was even more unwilling to let Tian Mujiao go. "My people are capturing fugitives. No one is allowed to leave the main city without permission. As a princess, shouldn't you get off the carriage and be inspected? How can you be so unruly and willful? Or is there a ghost in your carriage and you don't dare to let anyone inspect it?" Tian Muxuan questioned. "Why should I let your dogs inspect my carriage? Who gave you the right to inspect my carriage? If father were to leave the city today, wouldn't you also draw your sword and point it at him? Would you want to inspect the carriage? Tis. You're all grown up now. You don't even care about father anymore." Tian Mujiao mocked. At this moment, Xiao Zhu came forward and whispered into her ear, "Princess, that yin-yang emissary has already left the main city. Let's not quarrel with him anymore." When Tian Mujiao heard this, she immediately said, "Since you want to inspect, then let's do it. I have a clear conscience. I'm not afraid of your inspection." Tian Muxuan sneered and personally rushed into the carriage. When he opened the curtains, there was nothing but Tian Mujiao. He couldn't help but fly into a rage. "Are you satisfied? Tian Muxuan, I'm not done with you today. Just based on the fact that you ordered the patrol to attack my carriage, father will make you suffer. However, I'm in a good mood today and can't be bothered to argue with you. Why don't you scram? You're delaying my hunt. I'll go back and report to father right now." Tian Mujiao mocked. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Tian Muxuan was so angry that his entire body trembled. He flung the curtains aside and waved his hand to disperse the patrol army. He shouted hoarsely, "Let her leave." Elder Huang was anxious and quickly asked, "How can there not be? She left the city at this time and didn't even let us inspect her. There must be a ghost." Tian Muxuan smiled coldly and muttered, "She's organizing a mess. She probably wants to send someone out of the city. If we follow her now, we can definitely find Emperor Ye's soul." Chapter 1623. Tian Muxuan quickly found out that a heaven suppressor left the city amidst the chaos. He was even more certain that it was him who took away Emperor Ye's soul. "Send someone to keep an eye on that bitch Tian Mujiao. I will request for a group of heaven suppressors to capture them," Tian Muxuan said coldly. With that, Elder Huang personally led a group of patrol envoys out of the city while Tian Muxuan rushed towards the inner city. Thousands of miles away, Yi Qinghan had already escaped to a valley. Looking at Emperor Yi and by Xiaosheng's soul energy, he used a strand of energy to protect them. He was very excited. "Master, should we slip away first? If we bring Tian Mujiao along, there might be someone following us." The divine bird reminded. Yi Qinghan looked back and said seriously, "For now, we still need Tian Mujiao to lead the way. Let's wait for a while. If she's being followed, we won't bring her along. If there's no one, we can take her with us." After he finished speaking, Yi Qinghan stepped onto the summit of a mountain. He had a good view of the surroundings and could see far into the distance. 6 hours later, there was a carriage in the distance. Behind it were 5 heaven suppressors. The one driving the carriage was Xiao Zhu. The person inside the carriage was Tian Mujiao. Unfortunately, about 2 miles behind them, Elder Huang and a large group of patrol envoys were following them. They were very close and couldn't be shaken off. Even further away, Tian Mushuan led a large army of heaven suppressors. Yi Qinghan alone couldn't fight them. Moreover, he didn't have a body of flesh and blood right now. Let's go! Yi Qinghan was very determined to give up on Tian Mujiao. The divine bird was a bit surprised. It looked suspiciously at Yi Qinghan and said with disdain, "You wouldn't give up on your teammates in the past. Tian Mujiao offended Tian Mushuan because of you. Will he kill Tian Mujiao to vent his anger?" Yi Qinghan's brows twitched. He looked back at Tian Mujiao's carriage and took a deep breath. He didn't know what to do for a moment. Let's go! After thinking for a while, Yi Qinghan dived down like a dragonfly skimming the surface of the water. He stepped on the treetops and rushed to the foot of the mountain in the blink of an eye. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Yi Qinghan arrived at the carriage in a flash and said to Xiao Zhu, "You are being watched. I will leave with the princess first. You drive the carriage and lead them around." Xiao Zhu was worried, but Tian Mujiao was determined to leave with Yi Qinghan. He had no choice but to fulfill her wish. "Yin-yang Taoist friends, please treat the princess well. I'll try my best to buy you some time." After that, Xiao Zhu drove the horse carriage into the distance. Yi Qinghan followed the carriage's path and brought Tian Mujiao into a canyon, taking a detour towards the official road. Xiao Zhu and the 5 heaven suppressors drove the carriage faster and faster. Elder Huang finally noticed that something was wrong and surrounded the carriage with a large group of experts. Tian Mushuan chased after Xiao Zhu from behind and opened the carriage forcefully. When he saw that the carriage was empty, he realized that it had been swapped. His eyes were filled with murderous intent as he sneered, "Xiao Zhu, you are such an idiot. I am the heir of the 14th district. She will be married off eventually. How dare you offend me for her sake?" Xiao Zhu took a deep breath and said helplessly, "I will listen to the Castellan now. Young master, I am under the Castellan's orders to protect Princess Jiao. We have to listen to her orders." "Is that so?" Tian Mushuan radiated a cold light and killing intent as he coldly asked, "Then let me ask you, who took Tian Mujiao away? Did they take away Emperor Ye's soul?" Xiao Zhu was silent for a long time. He shook his head and said, "I don't know if they took away Emperor Ye's soul. We were sent away by Princess Jiao. He was the one who brought Princess Jiao into the city." Tian Mushuan heard and roared, "Someone is teaching that bitch? How dare they betray us and let a fugitive escape? Tell me, who is that person? You must know that Emperor Yi is a fugitive that even father knows about. You helped him escape. This is a crime that will wipe out your entire clan. Why you still covering for that bitch?" Tian Mushuan scolded. Xiao Zhu lowered his head. He knew that he couldn't offend either side. He said, "The person who took the princess away was an envoy from the Yin-yang Xian clan. He came to inspect the sinner's land and accidentally saved us and the princess. The princess loves him a lot. However, I really don't know if he saved Emperor Ye's soul. Please don't pursue this matter. Help me capture the Yin-yang emissaries, Emperor Yi and Tian Mujiao, and I'll put in a few good words for you in front of my father. Otherwise, all of you will die, and none of your clansmen will be able to escape." Xiao Zhu had no choice but to follow the army to the official road. Inform the depths of the 14th district to cut off the official road. No one is allowed to enter the 15th district. Kill anyone who dares to force their way in. Tian Mushuan ordered loudly. Then he ordered the Sky Suppression Squad to follow him. The other inspectors followed Elder Huang and followed the 2 sides of the official road. Yi Qinghan was leading Tian Mujiao on a wild path. They chose the mountain path and traversed through the ravines. They would occasionally dive into the canyons. They didn't use the official road at all. Tian Mujiao saw a large group of inspectors setting up checkpoints. It was very strict. She was a bit nervous. Only then did she realize that she was in big trouble. She quickly asked, "Brother Yin-yang, what did you take from Tian Mushuan's room? Why did he make such a big fuss?" "A perfect soul. However, I destroyed it and made him lose the chance to climb to the top. He will definitely make a big fuss. Now, I think he will find an excuse to kill you. That's why I have to take you away." Yi Qinghan said softly. What should we do? All the inspectors in the 14th district have been mobilized. We can't even go back to the city to ask for help from father. Tian Mujiao wanted to cry but had no tears. Yi Qinghan was silent. He only cared about bringing her along as they sped through the ravines. Occasionally, they would encounter dream beasts. However, they were fast enough to shake them off easily. Night descended. The underworld at night became even more sinister and terrifying. There were broken souls everywhere, and mournful howls of anger could be heard. Even if they developed physical bodies, they were still badly damaged and extremely terrifying. Roar! An eerie green light blocked their path. Then, hundreds of green lights appeared on a hill, blocking their path. A large group of dream beasts, and they were all adult dream beasts. They were trying to capture the complete soul energy. The eerie fangs looked even colder under the moonlight. It was chilling. Tian Mujiao screamed and hid behind Yi Qinghan. Shua. Yi Qinghan took out the yin-yang mysterious record. Divine light enveloped the entire valley. He could clearly see the dream beasts on the hill. There were hundreds of adult dream beasts. They were as tall as tigers and had powerful limbs. They were drooling as they stared at Yi Qinghan and Tian Mujiao. Yi Qinghan's soul was too powerful. It was as if he had a body of flesh and blood. He was the most suitable for the dream beasts. He was like the most delicious food in the world. He was constantly closing in on them. What do we do? There are so many. Are we going to die? Tian Mujiao screamed in panic. Yi Qinghan breathed out turbid air and kept retreating. A large number of dream beasts had appeared on the left side of the valley. He had actually run into the dream beasts' territory. This was a large group. Once he was trapped, even a powerful soul would be exhausted to death. Chapter 1624. The large number of dream beasts was even more obvious at night. Their sinister eyes made one shudder. Tian Mujiao was already paralyzed from fear. She had never seen such a desperate scene. If it wasn't for Yi Qinghan blocking in front of her, she probably wouldn't even have the guts to stand up. Swish! The yin-yang profound record soared into the sky and shrouded in divine light. Light screens swept down, intimidating the dream beasts. At this moment, the valley became clear and bright. A large number of dream beasts appeared in their line of sight. There were dream beasts all around. There were at least 2,000 to 3,000 adult dream beasts. They were all very powerful and were the nemesis of spirit bodies. Even though Yi Qinghan's spirit was strong enough, he was still quite nervous at this moment. Looking around, the two gradually retreated behind a broken rock. After placing Tian Mujiao behind the rock, Yi Qinghan said in a deep voice, "Don't leave this huge rock. I will help you block it." After saying that, Yi Qinghan scanned the surroundings, looking for the leader of the dream beasts. To catch bandits, first catch the leader. Once these beasts lost their leader, there would definitely be chaos. The dream beast leader stood at the highest point and looked down at its two best prey. Its cold light was like lightning and was very conspicuous in the night. Yi Qinghan smiled and quickly formed seals with his 10 fingers. The yin-yang profound record spun quickly and became bigger, forming a whirlpool. It descended from the sky and suppressed the land within 10 miles. The pressure caused the dream beasts to roar and soar into the sky, wanting to go against the heavens. Swish! Yi Qinghan ignored the other dream beasts. With a shake of his hand, he formed berserk and rushed towards the dream beast leader with a heaven-battling aura. "Stay here and don't move." Swish! Yi Qinghan left behind a sentence. His body was like lightning as he slashed horizontally with his blade towards the dream beast leader. The dream beast leader stared angrily at Yi Qinghan, who was rushing towards it. It crouched and its 4 limbs were ready to explode with power. Boom boom boom. Ka-ka-ka. The dream beast leader rushed forward and crushed the rocks under its feet. Its sharp claws slapped towards Yi Qinghan's berserk. Its sinister fangs bit towards Yi Qinghan's neck. The dream beast leader roared angrily, causing the void to tremble. The soul energy within 100 miles dispersed. Even a complete soul body would be shattered. Yi Qinghan focused his mind. He felt his soul tremble as a piercing pain assaulted him. However, This did not stop his determination to charge at the dream beast. Boom, boom. Whooshed at the wild saber was like a rainbow, stirring up chaos in all directions. It destroyed the other dream beasts that were rushing over and went straight for the dream beast leader. Boom! The dream beast leader's sharp claws landed on the frenzy. No matter how sharp the frenzy was, it was formed from spiritual energy. This was a collision between the physical body and the soul. Luckily, Yi Qinghan's soul was strong enough. If it was Xiao Zhu's soul, she would have been killed instantly. Boom boom boom. Not with a loud roar, he unleashed 10 times his strength in an instant and sent the dream beast leader flying. Die! Not only did Yi Qinghan not retreat, he even charged at the dream beast with an even stronger stance. His long legs swept out and viciously kicked the dream beast leader. Roared at the dream beast leader cried out in pain. Its body fell from the top of the valley into the valley, causing some ancient trees to break. A few adult dream beasts pounced over but were sent flying by Yi Qinghan's kick. Bang, bang, bang. Yi Qinghan sent the other dream beasts flying with a few punches. Once again he charged at the dream beast leader. His goal was clear. He had to capture the dream beast leader to resolve this mess. The yin-yang mystic record suppressed the other dream beasts, preventing them from getting close to Tian Mujiao. This gave Yi Qinghan enough time to deal with the dream beast leader. Boom! Yi Qinghan retracted the frenzy and directly engaged in close combat with the dream beast leader. His iron fists were like weapons, his long legs were like bone blades, and his speed was as fast as lightning. The dream beast leader retreated in defeat. It was burning with anger. It did not expect that it could not even defeat a spiritual body. It bared its teeth. After fighting for a while, not only did it not gain the upper hand, it was also covered in wounds and blood. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Yi Qinghan's speed became faster and faster. The more he fought, the braver he became. His punches landed on the dream beast's back, breaking its spine. The dream beast leader counterattacked and engaged in a melee with Yi Qinghan. Powerful soul attacks fought invisibly, stirring up space-time and causing ripples like water. Tian Mujiao, who was standing in the distance, was dumbfounded. She did not expect a person's soul to be strong enough to fight with the dream beast leader. The dream beast leader constantly counterattacked, but it was constantly sent flying by Yi Qinghan. It was so tired that it was gasping for breath. Seeing the food in front of it forcing it back again and again, its eyes turned red and it kept roaring. Roar roar roar. Another few hundred adult dream beasts broke free from the yin-yang mystic record's restraints and charged at Yi Qinghan. Bang bang bang. Ding. Yi Qinghan activated the frenzy once again and charged forward. He continuously sent the dream beasts flying and smashed them until they were in a mess. The dream beasts were sent flying and crashed into the surrounding valleys. Yi Qinghan was so strong that the dream beasts could not retaliate at all. The dream beast leader was also afraid and trembling. It had never seen such a tyrannical human soul, let alone such a barbaric human soul. The dream beast leader roared and a large group of dream beasts slowly retreated. Shua! Yi Qinghan waved his hand and activated the yin-yang mystic record. The divine light was like a divine weapon rune as it attacked every dream beast. The dream beast leader roared again and ordered the dream beasts to gather around it. It angrily glared at Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan held onto the yin-yang mystic record and stopped attacking. He stood on high ground and coldly looked at the dream beast leader. The cold light in his eyes caused a large group of dream beasts to retreat. They did not dare to look directly at him. "We are just passing by. Let's mind our own business. Move aside. I will not attack again," Yi Qinghan coldly said. The dream beast leader was not willing to give up on Yi Qinghan's soul. Such perfect food could not be found even once in a few thousand years. If it could eat it, it could instantly advance by a large level. How could it be willing to give it up? Yi Qinghan raised a sinister smile and stared at the dream beast leader. His killing intent surged as he angrily said, "You refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. You are challenging my bottom line. Since you are not willing to retreat, then accept your death." Heaven and earth are limitless yin-yang law enforcement. First, heaven and earth, second, Tao law, and third, myriad. Shua. The yin-yang mystic record instantly rushed into the clouds. The divine light tore through the darkness and suppressed the earth with heavenly might. Mountains and rivers collapsed as tens of thousands of beasts roared and the dream beasts knelt. Boom. Kacha. The dream beast leader was forced to kneel on the ground. Its expression changed as it howled in grief and anger. It constantly kowtowed and begged Yi Qinghan to let it go. Bang. Yi Qinghan sent the dream beast leader flying with a kick. His soul became much more ethereal. This move had used up too much of his energy and his soul was somewhat unstable. Not good. Yi Qinghan was shocked. His soul was showing signs of collapsing. He hurriedly killed a few dream beasts and took out their demon cores. He swallowed them and stabilized his soul. The dream beast leader was terrified. It knelt on the ground and did not dare to get up. Yi Qinghan constantly killed adult dream beasts and devoured their demon cores. He devoured the spiritual energy in all directions to make up for the loss of soul energy. Damn things. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath. If not for the fact that he could still use these dream beasts, that attack would have killed them. Chapter 1625. After swallowing a large number of demon cores, it was barely able to stabilize its soul. Its forehead was covered in sweat as it panted heavily. Yi Qinghan heaved a sigh of relief. Seeing that the dream beast did not dare to move, he snorted and said, "You really don't know what's good for you. I gave you face, but you didn't want it. You just had to kneel and talk to me." Tian Mujiao was already stunned by Yi Qinghan. Her entire body was trembling. The princess did not dare to throw a tantrum in the first place. Now, she did not dare to act recklessly. Yi Qinghan glanced at Tian Mujiao and did not say anything. He waved his hand to call her over and walked towards the dream beast leader. Bang! Yi Qinghan stepped on the head of the dream beast leader and said coldly, "Lead the tribe and escort me to the 15th district. I will let you eat your fill." The dream beast leader growled and did not dare to raise its head. It lowered its head and submitted. The dream beast leader's body was obviously much bigger than the normal dream beasts. It was like a tall horse. Yi Qinghan placed Tian Mujiao on the back of the dream beast and jumped on as well. "Get up. Bring us to the 15th district." What? The dream beast growled and soared into the sky. It brought the two of them into the ravines and shuttled through the forest. A large group of adult dream beasts followed closely behind. A few days later, Yi Qinghan was brought to a plain by the dream beast leader. There were many patrol envoys shuttling through the plain. They saw a large group of dream beasts but did not see Yi Qinghan and Tian Mujiao lying on top of the dream beast. Hence, they did not want to provoke these creatures and turned to leave. Yi Qinghan and Tian Mujiao were lying on top of the dream beast. They relied on the dream beast's fur to hide their figures. There were a large group of dream beasts around them. It was as if they were migrating and would not attract the attention of any patrol envoys. As they sped along, they gradually approached the official road. There were more and more patrol envoys. Around them, there were even some ghost immortals who had cultivated a flesh body. Danger lurked everywhere. It would be difficult to enter the 15th district from here. However, if they didn't take the official road, their enemies wouldn't just be the inspectors from the 14th district. There were also a large number of inspectors from the 15th district. The inspectors from the 15th district were definitely stronger than those from the 14th district. There was no need to offend them. Yi Qinghan decided to challenge the 14th district's young master, Tian Muxian. Have the fastest dream beast investigate where Tian Muxian is and how many sky suppressor guards are blocking the path between the 14th and 15th districts. Inspector, report back immediately after you find out. Yi Qinghan patted the head of the dream beast leader and ordered coldly. Tian Muxian was the young master of the 14th district. It was impossible for him not to know the leader of the dream beasts. There was no need for Yi Qinghan to explain. The dream beasts growled at the dream beasts beside them. Some dream beasts understood and quickly left the group, disappearing into the night. 2 days later, all the dream beasts returned and informed Yi Qinghan through soul communication. Tian Muxian brought 3,000 ordinary heaven-suppressing guards, 3 top-notch heaven-suppressing guard lieutenants, and 20,000 high-ranking patrol envoys to block the exit of the 14th district. A large number of patrol envoys were scattered everywhere, searching for Yi Qinghan and Tian Mujiao. Yi Qinghan had a rough idea. These sky suppressor guards weren't much in the Nine Worlds heaven. However, in the infernal realm, the sky suppressor guards with flesh and blood were definitely existences that could instantly kill souls. Most importantly, the hurricane they controlled was the nemesis of souls. They could kill souls at any time. Ordinary sky suppressor guards might not be able to harm him, but when there were a lot of them, it would be terrifying. Yi Qinghan clenched his iron fist and said to the Dream Beast leader, "Do you want to devour these sky suppressor guards and inspectors? If you do, I will let you eat as much as you want." The Dream Beast leader nodded repeatedly. Those sky suppressor guards and inspectors with flesh and blood were the most delicious. They were even more appetizing than soul bodies. Inform the Dream Beasts of the other tribes. We will attack together and kill the 3,000 sky suppressor guards and 20,000 high-level inspectors. All the flesh and blood will belong to you. Yi Qinghan suggested. When the Dream Beast leader heard this, it immediately roared at the other Dream Beasts. In an instant, hundreds of Dream Beasts rushed in all directions, seeking support. The Dream Beasts occupied a large area of land and mountains in the 14th district. This was a forbidden area for soul bodies. Even the inspectors weren't willing to go near it. There were many Dream Beast tribes. Each tribe had about 1,000 Dream Beasts. In order to curb the Dream Beast development, the SkyClan sovereign would mobilize an army to hunt Dream Beasts almost every year. The number of Dream Beasts had always been suppressed at a fixed number. However, this number was frighteningly large. Even if they worked together with the Dream Beasts of a certain district, they could destroy tens of thousands of inspectors. The Dream Beasts rarely worked together. However, during the annual hunt, most of the tribes would gather together to survive. The Dream Beasts treated the inspectors as food and hated them. Normally, the Dream Beast tribe would inform the other tribes not to work together to deal with the inspectors. This would definitely work. As expected, a few days later, large groups of Dream Beasts gathered. They were all adult Dream Beasts. They roared at Yi Qinghan. Their eyes were filled with greed, anger, and killing intent. Yi Qinghan's Dream Beast leader roared and lowered its head in shame, showing that it had submitted to Yi Qinghan. The other Dream Beast leaders were furious and kept approaching. What should we do? Tian Mujiao asked in fear. Yi Qinghan looked at the approaching Dream Beast leaders and sneered. He summoned the Yin-Yang mysterious record and said to the other Dream Beast leaders, "Your bloodline is very high, and your intelligence is not bad. Think about it. If I didn't have the ability to kill you all in an instant, would I let it tell you to come here and work together?" Countless Dream Beasts roared and surrounded the area tightly. Some of the Dream Beast leaders had already prepared to attack. Yi Qinghan was not too fast or too slow. He patted his Dream Beast's head and signaled for it to explain. The Dream Beast leader knelt in front of Yi Qinghan and roared. It seemed to be communicating something. Yi Qinghan didn't understand. Even Tian Mujiao didn't understand. However, the other Dream Beast tribes gradually quietened down. They looked at Yi Qinghan with shock and slowly retreated. "Listen to my orders. I won't hurt you. Instead, I will help you get rid of 2,000 Sky Suppressor and avenge your Dream Beast tribe. I will kill Tian Muxuan and let you all eat your fill. If you are willing to work together, stay. If not, then leave. But don't make me angry." Yi Qinghan warned coldly. Tian Mujiao was a little panicked and quickly said, "Big brother Yin-Yang, can you not kill the Sky Suppressor? That is my father's army. Under normal circumstances, they won't listen to Tian Muxuan's orders. If you marry a chicken, you will follow the chicken. If you marry a dog, you will follow the dog. You are now mine. The first thing you need to consider is our safety. As for your father, I can't control him. You don't have to either." Yi Qinghan quietly replied. Tian Mujiao didn't dare to say anything. She could only let Yi Qinghan make the decision. "Follow me. Let's go and have a good chat with Tian Muxuan." Yi Qinghan patted the Dream Beast leader's head and quickly rushed forward. Dong dong dong. Boom boom boom. Tens of thousands of dream beasts rushed into the distance. Dust flew everywhere and covered the sky. Chapter 1626. The group of dream beasts grew longer and longer, from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands, and finally to hundreds of thousands. Their momentum was like a magnificent army galloping past, shaking the earth. Go go go! Yi Qinghan increased his speed, not willing to stay in hell for too long. He turned into a bolt of lightning and galloped at the front. Tian Mujiao had never experienced such pleasure before. Her face was flushed red, and her eyes were blurry. Yi Qinghan glanced at Tian Mujiao. He was only using her this time, but what should he do after that? He couldn't just throw her away, right? This unruly princess didn't have any survival experience at all. Leaving her here was equivalent to killing her. Her figure is not bad. Bring her back to the human world. The divine bird sensed Yi Qinghan's hesitation and immediately said wretchedly. Yi Qinghan let out a muffled groan. This divine bird would always provoke him when it wasn't important. Hey, you can't just throw her away after using her, right? You want to be irresponsible after eating her? The divine bird mocked. Shut up. Yi Qinghan reprimanded. I have to say a few words to you. You have to be open and above board. At the very least, you can't throw away your bottom line. Moreover, this is a good silly girl. Although she is unruly, willful, and a little vicious, you can nurture her. The divine bird chattered nonstop. It had finally found a chance to educate Yi Qinghan, so it might as well go all out and say seriously, men have to be responsible for their actions. You can't be a scumbag. Gotcha. Yi Qinghan clenched his fists. He really wanted to pull the divine bird out and beat it up. Sai, you are a classic example of a well-fed man not knowing the suffering of a starving man. There are too few girls in my race. I do want to marry and take in concubines, but there is only one little money grubber. She is still hugging her nest, and I have long been unable to endure the thirst. However, this divine bird is high up and has a unique bloodline. How can I casually find another race? Just like my divine bird bloodline. The divine bird said proudly. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Yi Qinghan was so angry that black lines appeared on his forehead. He mocked him without holding back. You're a creature that was born after your father raped the divine phoenix. Your bloodline isn't very pure, nor is it very high. The divine bird was very unhappy. You can malign my father, but you can't insult me. My bloodline is very noble and pure. The divine bird said angrily. This divine bird is so despicable. A strange fluctuation came from Emperor Ye's soul. Yi Qinghan was overjoyed. It seemed that Emperor Yi still had a trace of memory. It was just that it was in his subconscious and needed to be stimulated. At this moment, he was somewhat willing to banter with the divine bird. The divine bird rolled its eyes and snorted, Little master, why are you asking for a beating? Of. This divine bird will not talk to you adulterers. Whoosh. The divine bird was very unhappy from being scolded. It rushed out of Yi Qinghan's soul and jumped onto the head of the dream beast leader. It shouted, Charge! Kill the enemy and this divine bird will reward you. The dream beast leader was shocked by the divine bird. It raised its front limbs and roared. It wanted to shake the divine bird and tear it apart. The divine bird was frightened by the dream beast's reaction. It ran to Yi Qinghan's shoulder and muttered, This guy is crazy. Yi Qinghan quickly patted the dream beast's head, indicating for it to be quiet. Tian Mujiao saw the divine bird's appearance and said happily, Brother Yin Yang, what bird is this? It's so cute. Give it to me. I like it. Scram. Even the little master doesn't dare to say that. Who do you think you are? The divine bird retorted disdainfully. Tian Mujiao was a famous unruly princess. She immediately glared at the divine bird. Killing intent flashed in her eyes. Then, she looked at Yi Qinghan pleadingly. She shook Yi Qinghan's clothes and said coquettishly, Brother Yin Yang, give it to me. I want it. I'll discipline it for you. Yi Qinghan rejected her without hesitation. He saw the killing intent in her eyes and reminded her coldly, "Be careful in the future. Don't kill anyone around me, including my spirit pets." Tian Mujiao was frightened by Yi Qinghan's gaze. She couldn't help but pout. She was very angry. She unwillingly growled, "You dare to yell at me? Bitch, yelling at you is already light. If you dare to be disrespectful to this divine bird again, I'll whip you." The divine bird was also very angry. This stupid woman actually dared to have killing intent towards it. It wasted its efforts to help her. Tian Mujiao was used to being spoiled. She didn't know what was good for her. Even though she knew Yi Qinghan was angry, she still growled, "Be careful or I'll kill you." At this time, Yi Qinghan's aura became even more gloomy. He directly flipped her over. The two of them faced each other. Their eyes met. He said in a deep voice, "You didn't take my words to heart? Woman, you have to be obedient. Do you understand? What if I'm not obedient? You said you liked me before. Now, you're actually yelling at me and scolding me for a lowly bird. Even my father can't bear to scold me. If I didn't like you, you would have already been one." Tian Mujiao angrily retorted. "It's not a lowly bird. The only one who can scold it and hit it is me. You can't. No one else can either." Yi Qinghan coldly reprimanded. When the divine bird heard this, it immediately became spirited. It was like a fox pretending to be a tiger. After all these years of companionship, its position in Yi Qinghan's heart was equivalent to Emperor Yi. Who would dare to kill it? Who would dare to scold it? The group of people from the Kuang sect was purely joking. However, they also treated it as one of their own. Usually, when they joked, whoever dared to attack or scold it, it would definitely not hesitate to teach them a lesson. As a spiritual pet, it was definitely rare for it to be able to do this. Tian Mujiao was stunned. For a moment, she didn't dare to talk back. However, she resented the divine bird. Looking at its arrogant appearance, the killing intent in her eyes grew stronger. How unruly and willful! Yi Qinghan grabbed the dream beast leader's long fur and changed direction. After 100 miles, they passed by a huge fortress. He coldly said to the dream beast, "Stop." Swish. Yi Qinghan stretched out his hand and sent Tian Mujiao down. He coldly said, "I don't need a princess by my side. Go down and return to your father's side. I believe that no one will dare to be fierce to you, much less scold you." Tian Mujiao didn't expect Yi Qinghan to be so heartless. She was even more afraid that Yi Qinghan would really abandon her. She had really been tamed by Yi Qinghan. Women always like to be unique. Yi Qinghan was the only one who dared to be fierce to her. She liked this feeling. It was a classic case of wanting to be abused. "I was wrong. Big brother Yin Yang, don't be angry. You hit me and scolded me. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not unruly and willful anymore. Don't abandon me." While the unruly princess actually knelt in front of the dream beast and wailed. Huff huff. Yi Qinghan's mouth twitched. He didn't expect the unruly princess to have a masochistic tendency. "Remember what you said now. If you dare to go against my will again, I'll throw you to the dream beast to be its food." Yi Qinghan ordered without holding back. Chapter 1627. Tian Mujiao was so shocked by Yi Qinghan's words that she didn't dare to be unruly anymore. She allowed Yi Qinghan to make the decision. Yi Qinghan pulled Tian Mujiao up and continued forward. Along the way, Yi Qinghan asked about how to bring souls away without reincarnation, but Tian Mujiao didn't know anything. Yi Qinghan hurried forward while looking for a way. He didn't want Emperor Yi and Bai Shaoxing to reincarnate. He wanted to bring them back to the human world and rebuild their golden bodies. However, there were two problems in front of him. If he couldn't complete one of them, he wouldn't be able to bring Emperor Yi and Bai Shaoxing away. How to recover their memories. How to leave hell. However, Tian Mujiao, this unruly princess, didn't know anything. The dream beasts killed the inspectors, ghosts, and souls. They directly opened their mouths and swallowed them whole. The souls had no way to resist. As long as they looked at each other, they would lose consciousness. They sped along the official road towards the 15th district. At the entrance of the 15th district, Tian Mushuan knew that a large number of dream beasts were coming this way. He frowned and asked Elder Huang, "Elder Huang, a large number of dream beasts can easily cause us harm. What should we do?" "There shouldn't be a beast tide in this season. There must be something strange about the dream beasts forming such a large tide. I suggest we ask the city lord for help," Elder Huang suggested firmly. Tian Mushuan shook his head and said, "If I trouble my father for such a small matter, he will only hate me. Moreover, this matter involves that bitch Tian Mujiao. He will definitely side with her." Elder Huang sighed. Being a subordinate was the most difficult when siblings fought for power. Tian Mujiao didn't care much about power, but with her unruly and willful personality, she went against Tian Mushuan. Moreover, she was deeply doted on. Their lives were even more difficult. Then we can only face them head-on. Let's pray that those dream beasts aren't coming for us. Elder Huang smiled bitterly. They shouldn't be. It's not like the dream beasts don't know. The place where the army is stationed is also defended by the city walls. 3,000 heaven-suppressing guards and divine crossbows. 100,000 dream beasts definitely won't be able to break through. They aren't fools, Tian Mushuan said. On top of the city gate, the army was in formation. The patrol envoy stood at the outermost defense while the heaven-suppressing guardians stood in a row behind. The divine crossbows had already been set up and blocked off the official road. No soul would be able to escape. There was a huge samsara cliff between the 15th and 14th sections. It was unfathomably deep and thousands of feet wide. Souls couldn't float on it, and flesh and blood couldn't step on it. The only way to get to the 15th section was by the official road or the iron chain in the central area. As long as these two roads were blocked, anyone who wanted to get to the 15th section would have to get the permission of the governor of the 14th section. Boom boom boom. The earth trembled, and dust rose into the air from the distance. It covered space and time, and its aura was extremely shocking. Whoosh. Roar roar roar. Dozens of dream beast tribes gathered and rushed over from afar. A large number of patrol envoys fled towards the city tower, but the dream beasts were even faster. The city gates refused to open, and this group of people were swallowed by the dream beasts. Miserable cries could be heard incessantly. The dream beast was like a dragon pouncing on a tiger, its power as swift as lightning. It was chaos outside the city. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Fire. Boom. Boom. Whoosh. In a split second, tens of thousands of arrows were shot at the dream beast, and the rain of arrows poured down. Roar! The miserable cries of the dream beasts resounded through the clouds, but their footsteps did not stop. Instead, they charged towards the city walls in an even more ferocious manner. Their sharp claws grabbed onto the city walls, and they jumped a few meters. Wah wah wah! The patrol envoys threw out a large number of spears, but the speed of the dream beasts was too fast. They were actually able to dodge the arrows and spears. After a round of attacks, only a few hundred dream beasts died. Compared to the hundreds of thousands of dream beasts, this number was negligible. Yi Qinghan, who was standing in the distance, looked at the circular city tower. The design of this city tower was perfect, and it could block outside enemies. It was easy to defend and hard to attack. If one wanted to attack, one would have to forcefully break a corner of the city gate. However, the city gate's defense was the strongest, and to break it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Yi Qinghan observed for a long time. The official road was blocked by the divine crossbows on the city gate. If the city tower did not fall, the official road would be a dead end. Since that is the case, then I will push you down. Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed coldly. He put Tian Mujiao aside and jumped into the group of dream beasts. He rode on a dream beast leader and dodged in the air, constantly pouncing towards the city tower. Tian Mushuan noticed Yi Qinghan and immediately shouted in anger, "Kill him! There is indeed a demon doing evil. He can actually work with the dream beasts." No, this person is not a sky suppressor. He is a spiritual body. Could he be the yin-yang emissary that Xiao Zhu mentioned? Elder Huang quickly noticed the problem and immediately reminded. Tian Mushuan heard this and his killing intent intensified. He coldly said, "Heavily injure him and capture him alive." I want to find the whereabouts of Emperor Yi. Xiao showed that most of the arrows were aimed at Yi Qinghan and his dream beast leader. The rain of arrows enveloped them, making it impossible for them to escape. However, Yi Qinghan was incomparably powerful. He directly charged forward. His palms formed a seal, and the yin-yang record shot out tens of thousands of runes. Each rune could destroy an arrow. He rode on the dream beast leader and quickly approached the city tower. Elder Huang grunted. He took out a longbow and aimed at Yi Qinghan. The arrow was extremely cold. The longbow was fully drawn, and the arrow was aimed at Yi Qinghan's head. Bang! The arrow destroyed the runes shot out by the yin-yang record and shot towards Yi Qinghan with lightning speed. Elder Huang's strength was much stronger than Xiao Zhu's. Boom! The arrow broke through the void and arrived in front of Yi Qinghan in an instant. The dream beast leader felt the threat of death and kept roaring. It wanted to retreat, but it did not dare to go against Yi Qinghan's will. It could only grit its teeth and charge forward. Seal. Yi Qinghan put his palms together and grabbed the crossbow bolt that was speeding toward him. The powerful impact of the crossbow bolt caused his soul to surge and almost collapse. However, at that moment, Ren Huangye's soul moved inexplicably and became one with his soul. His aura rose and suppressed the crossbow bolt. Elder Huang's pupils shrank. He looked at Yi Qinghan in disbelief. To be able to catch his arrow with a soul, this soul was too overpowered. Gulp, Tian Mushuan was also shocked. Cold sweat dripped down his forehead. He did not know what to do. In an instant, the army in the city tower and the dream beasts below the city tower all stopped attacking. They looked at Yi Qinghan quietly. Yi Qinghan threw away the arrow and rode on the dream beast leader to the top of the city tower. He jumped down and appeared among the army. There is a path to heaven, but you don't want to take it. I don't care if you are the yin-yang emissary or not. You have interfered with the cycle of reincarnation. Hand over Emperor Ye's soul body to me, and this young master might be kind enough to spare your life. Tian Mushuan immediately gave the order to surround Yi Qinghan. 10,000 arrows were aimed at him as he spoke coldly. Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows and looked at Tian Mushuan. After a while, he smiled and said, Tian Mushuan, you and I are from two different worlds. However, you have nothing better to do. You took my wife's soul. If you know what's good for you, then get out of my way. Otherwise, I will start a massacre. Tian Mushuan was shocked. He looked at Yi Qinghan carefully and realized that he was a demon that destroyed a small world. Chapter 1628. Tian Mushuan saw Yi Qinghan's face clearly. It was exactly the same as the demon Tian Muhuang had transformed into. He was the one who destroyed the chaos world, not the yin-yang emissary. So it's you. You actually dared to enter hell and interfere with the order of reincarnation. Tian Mushuan asked in a trembling voice. Yi Qinghan smiled evilly and replied coldly, so what if I interfere with the order of reincarnation? When I need it, I'm the order. Boy, you've got guts. You know she's my woman and you still dare to steal her. I really don't know what your father taught you. Tian Mushuan was sweating profusely. He swallowed his saliva and glanced at Elder Huang. Elder Huang didn't know Yi Qinghan's identity, but seeing Tian Mushuan's frightened expression, he knew he had encountered a tough nut. He cupped his fists and said, Who are you? There may be some misunderstanding between us. If we can talk, why don't we sit down and talk? Talk about what? You want to compensate me for stealing my woman? Or do you want me to give her to you? Yi Qinghan sneered. She's already fallen. Now that she's returned to hell, she's another person, not your wife. You have to follow the order of hell's reincarnation. Elder Huang said in a deep voice. Ha! Yi Qinghan laughed, then his face darkened. He replied coldly, Order and rules are only followed by the weak. The strong have always been the ones who make them. Do you think I'm the one who follows the order or the one who makes it? Fellow Taoist, you're not an eternal sovereign yet. It's not your turn to make rules and order. Elder Huang replied angrily. Yi Qinghan stared coldly at Elder Huang. He knew he was an expert whose cultivation was probably not inferior to his. Now that he cultivated a body in hell and became a top ghost immortal, Even if he wasn't as strong as Samsara City Lord, he wasn't too far off. Do you think only eternal sovereigns can be the ones who make rules and order? How pitiful! No wonder you are still a sector lord after cultivating for so long. You will never become an eternal sovereign. Yi Qinghan clenched his fists and slowly walked towards Tian Mushuan. Tian Mushuan had seen Yi Qinghan's eyes that could destroy a world. They were cruel and merciless. No one was willing to provoke such a person. Even with old Huang's protection and the army's protection, he still didn't dare to face Yi Qinghan. You want to fight against my army of tens of thousands by yourself? Elder Huang asked angrily when he saw how powerful Yi Qinghan was. I once faced an army of 1,000,000 by myself, and I didn't even frown. What's more, this ant-like city is about to fall. You're facing hundreds of thousands of dream beasts. Yi Qinghan calmly replied. Then you will become the enemy of the entire hell. If you break the order of Samsara, the city lord will join forces with the city lords of other regions to deal with you. At that time, you will never be able to rise again. Elder Huang threatened. There's no need for you to think about it. What you should think about now is whether you have a chance to reincarnate. Yi Qinghan raised 2 fingers. In an instant, dark clouds covered the sky and dream beasts descended from the sky. 1, 2. Following that, thousands of powerful dream beasts rushed into the enemy army and started a desperate slaughter. In an instant, blood flowed like a river. 1, 1. The dream beasts angrily roared and broke through the patrol envoy's defenses, breaking through the array. Yi Qinghan took the opportunity to kill his way to the city gate and viciously slashed it open with his saber. A large number of dream beasts flooded into the city. Escort the young master out. Heaven-suppressing guards, defend. Countless dream beasts roared. There were too many of them and the city instantly collapsed. Yi Qinghan retreated to the center of the battlefield and coldly looked at the bloody slaughter. He didn't have the slightest bit of pity. If the ghost gods died, their souls would shatter. They would never have a chance to reincarnate. Their souls would be reconstructed. The patrol shouted and killed the dream beasts with all his might. 3,000 heaven-suppressing guards protected Tian Mushuan and killed their way to the top of the city tower. They jumped down with him and charged into the distance. Xiao Zhu and his 5 subordinates were ordered to bring up the rear. They weren't allowed to escape. Yi Qinghan saw that they were surrounded. His eyebrows twitched. Like lightning, he appeared in front of them and ordered a large number of dream beasts to retreat. Xiao Zhu's face was pale. His hands were trembling. He quickly bowed and replied, "Thank you, Yin Yang emissary, for saving our lives." "No need to thank me. I need you to bring the princess back to the city and turn the tables on Tian Mushuan," Yi Qinghan replied calmly. Xiao Zhu's spine was hurting. He didn't want to participate in the battle between the siblings. No matter who won, it wouldn't be beneficial. Instead, it would bring great danger to himself. However, facing Yi Qinghan, he didn't have the chance to refuse. "Go back and say that I was just passing by. I saved your and Tian Mujiao's lives by chance. I didn't take any souls. Tian Mushuan purposely made things difficult for you in order to kill Tian Mujiao. He failed several times," Yi Qinghan said seriously. "The Castellan won't believe it." Xiao Zhu smiled bitterly. "Whether he believes it or not is his problem. Whether you say it or not is your problem. What you said is the truth. I really was passing by and saved you. I didn't take any souls with me," Yi Qinghan replied calmly. The dream beasts were still slaughtering the patrol. Blood flowed like a river. Their souls were completely devoured. Dream beasts were everywhere. In the end, Yi Qinghan stomped his foot. The entire city shook. "Now that everyone is full, we can go after the 3,000 heaven suppressors. Don't leave a single one alive. Get them all." Yi Qinghan stared at the leaders of the dream beasts and ordered coldly. After that, Yi Qinghan brought Xiao Zhu and the others out of the city. They walked to a deep mountain near the official road. Tian Mujiao was there. Seeing Yi Qinghan return, Tian Mujiao shouted excitedly, "Did you win? How is Tian Mushuan? Did you kill him?" Yi Qinghan shook his head and replied calmly, "I definitely can't kill Tian Mushuan. If I did, your father would kill me. I don't want to make enemies for now. Then Yi Qinghan said to Tian Mujiao, I can't take you with me. Go back with Xiao Zhu and tell your father. Yi Qinghan quickly came up with a plan. If he wanted to kill Tian Muxuan, he didn't have to do it himself. Letting him die in the hands of his father might be the best choice. However, Tian Mujiao was unwilling. She stared at Yi Qinghan angrily. However, Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed coldly. She didn't dare to be presumptuous. After this is done, I will take you with me when I come back. I don't want your father to cause trouble for me when I enter the 15th district. Otherwise, the next time we meet, we will be enemies. If I kill your father, you won't just stand by and watch, right? Yi Qinghan reminded her. Tian Mujiao's eyes were filled with tears. She didn't expect Yi Qinghan's personality to change so drastically. He was no longer the person who used to lie to her. Are you using me? Tian Mujiao cried. Yi Qinghan was silent for a moment. In the end, he nodded. You bastard! You will regret this. Tian Mujiao scolded. Chapter 1629. Tian Mujiao was humiliated and was taken away by Xiao Zhu. Yi Qinghan stepped into the 15th district, but he didn't expect that the 3,000 heaven-suppressing guards couldn't protect Tian Muxuan. He was caught up by the dream beast and torn to pieces, becoming its food. Tian Muxuan's death woke Tian Muxuan up from his seclusion. He was furious when he checked Samsara. You bastard! How dare you play with my daughter and kill my son? I'll make sure you'll never be reincarnated. Tian Muxuan roared and contacted Samsara City Lord of the 15th district. They were both city lords of the 18th district of Hell, so they were bound to have some connections, not to mention they were so close. After Xia Kuan, the city lord of the 15th district, received Tian Muxuan's request, he ordered his most capable general, Yu Chen, to lead 30,000 bodyguards to the official road to stop Yi Qinghan in advance. Yi Qinghan was unprepared. He didn't expect Tian Muxuan to be dead. He was rushing to the 16th district in high spirits. The land of sinners was at the intersection of the 16th and 17th districts. There was a hell tower there, suppressing an eternal being. He could meet the eternal being there. It was inevitable that he was excited to meet the eternal being for the first time. The divine bird was already fantasizing about being favored by the eternal being and being bestowed with the eternal secret art, which would make him a sector lord. With my intelligence, as long as I become a sector lord, I'll become an eternal being very soon. I'll take care of you then. The divine bird snickered. Yi Qinghan snorted and didn't want to discourage it anymore. I don't want him to give me any secret art, but I want him to tell me how to restore my son and Bai Xiaoxing's memories and let us leave hell. Yi Qinghan said faintly. Emperor Yi and Bai Xiaoxing's souls were now residing in Yi Qinghan's sea of consciousness. They were one, but they could be separated at any time. Yi Qinghan led the divine bird through the official road. When they were about to reach the 16th district, they found something wrong. Why aren't there any creatures around the official road? Yi Qinghan asked curiously. The divine bird looked around and realized that it was extremely quiet. It was as if some terrifying creature was nearby. It's especially serious here. Yi Qinghan stopped and looked into the distance. He found a creature not far ahead, but he couldn't detect it with his divine sense. But he was sure there were many powerful creatures around it. And the sense of danger. He felt. The sense, but. Yi Qinghan became more and more careful as he walked deeper into the forest. Using the ancient trees to cover his tracks, he climbed to the top of a tall mountain and looked down at the official road of the 15th district. He discovered that there was a huge bone dragon lying on the official road. Its bones were white and gloomy, and there were more than 10,000 soldiers standing around it. The divine bird flapped its wings and said gloatingly, "What does it have to do with me? They're here for you, okay? If I die, do you think you'll live?" Yi Qinghan retorted with disdain. The divine bird rolled its eyes. Then it became serious. We don't have any enmity with the people of the 15th district. Why are they here for us? They've mobilized so many people. I can tell they're not ordinary just by looking at their cultivation. If they're not here for us, Who could make them mobilize so many people? Yi Qinghan was silent for a long time. Then he was sure that these people were here for him. Why else would they block the road? They wouldn't attack their own people. As for the other messengers, they wouldn't attack them. If this bridge is blocked, then the other iron chain bridge on the reincarnation cliff will definitely be blocked as well. Let's think of a way to lure them away. Don't force your way in. I'll leave this important task to you, Yi Qinghan said thoughtfully. Damn, are you stupid? Do they need to mobilize so many people to kill me? Only one person needs to come out. Only you can do such an important task. You just need to lead them to the mountains and then take a detour back to the main road. The divine bird suggested in a wretched manner. It was impossible to rely on the divine bird. Yi Qinghan had to do it himself. He tidied his clothes and pretended to be relaxed. However, he didn't approach the army. I'm the yin-yang emissary of the 9 worlds. Colleagues, please make way. I'm going to the Hell Tower to inspect the sinners. Yi Qinghan cupped his fists and said, Roar! The bone dragon was lying on the main road. When it saw Yi Qinghan appear, it immediately rushed towards Yi Qinghan. Boom! The huge bone dragon roared and swung its tail. It tore apart the heaven and earth and flattened the mountains. The ancient trees were destroyed. The army was very fast. They were even faster than the Heaven Suppression Guardians. They came from all directions. They didn't care about strategy at all. They didn't seem to want to capture him alive. Damn, what grudge do you have? The divine bird grabbed Yi Qinghan's neck in an exaggerated manner. It was afraid of being thrown off. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan turned into lightning and rushed to the mountains. He wasn't very fast, but he could shake off the bone dragon and the army. However, he gave them a glimmer of hope. The more they chased, the more energetic they became. Gradually, they deviated from the main road. These idiots can also become strong. The divine bird was very disdainful. It was too easy to shake them off. Crazy, do you want them to be smart? Yi Qinghan angrily rebuked. It's boring to play with a group of idiots. Only Yen Ao can be my opponent. The divine bird said proudly. Yi Qinghan couldn't be bothered to deal with them. He led the army in a roundabout way, then suddenly sped up and left their line of sight. They returned to the main road and entered the 16th district in a few flashes. As soon as he entered the 16th district, Yi Qinghan frantically sped up. He was afraid that the Samsara City Lord of the 15th district would ask the Samsara City Lord of the 16th district for help. If so, there would be nowhere to escape. The 16th district was vast and boundless. The main road was like a reincarnation cycle. The speed was even faster. Yi Qinghan's soul was almost pulled out of shape. Whoosh whoosh whoosh! A figure flashed through the void like a flash of lightning. A majestic hell tower towered into the sky. Its coercion could be felt from hundreds of millions of miles away. Yi Qinghan became more and more excited. He couldn't wait to step into the Hell Tower and find the Eternal Warrior. The divine bird spread its wings and shouted, Eternal Warrior, I'm coming. Whoosh whoosh whoosh! Whoosh whoosh whoosh! The main road was like a reincarnation cycle. It became more and more terrifying. The passage ahead was deep, as if it was going to a road of no return. A month later, the coercion became stronger and stronger. The 16th district was larger than the previous 5 districts combined. At such a fast speed, they still couldn't cross the 16th district in a month. However, the Hell Tower was clearly visible. It exuded an ancient aura, which made people dare not blaspheme. Chapter 1630. The Hell Pagoda emitted an ancient and decaying aura. It towered into the sky, making people feel awe and veneration. When they looked up, they felt so small. Looking at a mountain could kill a horse, but looking at this Hell Pagoda, even if a horse ran to its death, it would still not be able to reach the entrance. The Hell Pagoda did not look luxurious from the outside. It even looked very ordinary. Its black surface emitted a restrained rune light, but it looked majestic and magnificent. One could not help but feel awe. CSISI. Yi Qinghan sucked in a cold breath. He could not imagine how big this Hell Pagoda was. Perhaps only this kind of eternal Hell Pagoda could suppress an eternal being. Damn. If we take it away, Won't we be invincible? The divine bird cried out excitedly. A drop of cold sweat dripped down Yi Qinghan's forehead. Only the divine bird would think of taking away the hell pagoda that suppressed an eternal being. Could this thing be taken away? You can try. If you can take it away, I will acknowledge you as my master. Yi Qinghan muttered. Yi Qinghan's speed was still increasing. He was getting closer and closer to the hell pagoda. However, the closer he got, the more majestic he felt the hell pagoda was. After rushing for another 3 days, he reached the end of the 16th district. Only then did he realize that this hell pagoda spanned across 2 districts and sat on top of the reincarnation cliff. The enormous hell pagoda towered into the clouds. Only when he stood below the pagoda did he realize that he could not see the top of the pagoda. It was countless times bigger than the 9-world pagoda. It was unknown what material the hell pagoda was made of. The iron plates were scattered in an orderly manner. However, they also contained supreme order and unparalleled defense. It even contained offensive arrays. Such a pagoda, even if thousands of sector lords attacked it for thousands of years, they might not be able to damage a single corner of it. Too fucking magnificent. Can a human really make such a divine tool? Yi Qinghan sighed. An eternal being. It was unimaginable how powerful he was. However, he spent so much effort to suppress an eternal being. Why didn't he just kill him? Many mysteries revolved in Yi Qinghan's mind, but he could not find an answer. The door was right in front of him. It was incomparably deep, but it was as if it was hell on the other side. It made people cower in fear, not daring to take a step in. Yi Qinghan stood at the edge of the reincarnation cliff and looked down. It was unfathomable. For a moment, he didn't know if the sinner was inside the hell pagoda or below the reincarnation cliff. I'm guessing that it's inside the tower. So many emissaries have approached it before. If it's below, they wouldn't have had the chance to approach it, right? The divine bird speculated. Then let's go in. Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed. Since he was already here, then no matter how terrifying this hell pagoda was, he had to go in and investigate. Swish! As soon as he entered the hell pagoda, the heavens and earth changed. It was as if he had entered another space-time. A red moon hung in the sky, as if it had been dyed red by blood. There was no sound in the entire world. Even if the wind blew up the sand, there was still no sound. It was so quiet that it made one's hair stand on end. You can't use voice transmissions in this world? Yi Qinghan asked curiously. His voice echoed in the pagoda. It was not that there was no sound, it was just that there was no sound in this world. Oh my God, why does this place look more like hell? The divine bird said in horror. There was no spiral staircase, only a red fog. It was unknown what was in the depths, but it made one feel despair. Rustle, rustle, rustle. Yi Qinghan stepped into the depths. As he stepped on the sand, he realized that everything here was just an illusion. He could shatter the illusion as he walked over. He didn't know how big the hell pagoda was, nor did he know how long he had walked. Other than the sand, the red moon, and the endless space, there was nothing else. Kacha! A crisp sound echoed. Yi Qinghan looked down and realized that there were rotten gray bones beneath his feet. They would shatter with a single step. There were white bones everywhere. Occasionally, there would be potholes, but they were all filled with blood. You're here, a deep voice echoed in the world and didn't dissipate for a long time. Who is it? Yi Qinghan felt a chill down his spine. His entire body was covered in cold sweat. He stared into the depths of the pagoda cautiously, but he couldn't find the location of the person who spoke. Aren't you looking for me? Sinner's Eternal One. The voice sounded again. It was so hoarse that it made one's scalp go numb. It felt like countless bugs were eating his flesh and bones. Gulp! Yi Qinghan and the divine bird swallowed a mouthful of saliva at the same time. However, while Yi Qinghan was shocked and panicked, the divine bird was excited. It shouted as if it was possessed, "Hi, Lord Eternal One, I'm a divine bird with a noble bloodline. Let's have an exchange? Maybe we can work together." Yi Qinghan let out a breath of turbid air. He was quite angry at the divine bird's reaction. It's been countless years since someone talked to me. I didn't expect such a cute bird to exist in this world. Since that's the case, I'll work with you. If you stay with me, I'll give you eternal life. The voice was incomparably ancient, and it made one's ears go numb. Yet the divine bird was shocked. It didn't want to stay in this damned place for the rest of its life. It shook its head and said, "No, no, no. Let's change the method. We'll save you and leave. Great One, let me become the Supreme Realm Lord." Ah, the Eternal One laughed loudly. The entire world shook as if it heard the funniest joke in the world. "Child of the Sinner's Land, where did you find this weirdo?" The Eternal One laughed wildly. "Weirdo? Great Eternal One, who are you calling weirdo?" The divine bird asked in confusion. Yi Qinghan's mouth twitched. He didn't want the divine bird to continue speaking. He immediately reprimanded, "Divine bird, shut up." But what was the divine bird's purpose for coming here? Wasn't it just a transaction? How could it shut up? "No. I want to become a realm lord, a supreme realm lord. Like you, like Swanpadian." The divine bird flew up, trying to break free from the fog. "Be careful." Yi Qinghan was shocked. He leaped up and grabbed the divine bird. Whoosh da hua. A fiery light flashed, shattering the ground. Bang. Yi Qinghan rolled on the ground with the divine bird. The shockwave sent him flying. "Bastard! Can't you see there are so many bones here? If you dare to run around again, I'll kill you." Yi Qinghan shouted in exasperation. The divine bird was scared silly. It obediently stayed on Yi Qinghan's shoulder without moving. It didn't even speak. "Ah, this place is filled with mechanisms. Not to mention souls. Even if you enter in your peak state, you will definitely die. It's best to be careful." The Eternal One reminded with a smile. "Senior, where are you? Please lead us there. Perhaps we can really cooperate and release you." "It's not impossible," Yi Qinghan suggested. The gloomy world was silent for a moment. The Eternal One sighed, "There's no chance. This Tower of Eternity is where I'm buried." Chapter 1631. The Tower of Eternity was the tower that suppressed the Eternal Sovereign. To be able to make the Eternal Sovereign despair, one could see how terrifying this tower was. Even after being suppressed for countless years, the Eternal Sovereign still maintained his original heart. This kind of existence was incomprehensible. Yi Qinghan was silent for a moment. He looked up at the red sky, unable to determine the true body of the Eternal Sovereign. "Senior, Junior would like to know how the people in the Nine Worlds world are related to you?" Yi Qinghan asked in a deep voice. "Some of them are my descendants, some are natives, and some are from the messenger's bloodline." The Eternal Sovereign replied indifferently. "How do you distinguish between the natives and your descendants?" Yi Qinghan asked. "Bloodline soul. For example, you are my descendant." The Eternal Sovereign was very calm. Perhaps because the inheritance was too long, the bloodline affection had faded. Or perhaps in his eyes, Yi Qinghan's level couldn't help him at all. He didn't feel the slightest joy or excitement. Yi Qinghan's fingertips trembled slightly. He didn't expect himself to be a descendant of the sinner, the Eternal Sovereign. "Back then, my people were sent to the sinner's land because of me. That small world was a prison. Some of them were later invaded by my soul. Their souls intertwined with the messenger's bloodline. Except for the Yin-Yang clan, the other messenger's bloodline were all killed because they were pregnant with my descendants. My descendants forcibly plundered their origin and eventually died out. Your soul has the genes of the messenger's bloodline, so you can cultivate the Yin-Yang profound record." The Eternal Sovereign didn't hide anything, nor was he worried that Yi Qinghan would hold a grudge against him. Yi Qinghan's eyes twitched. He didn't hate the Eternal Sovereign at all. If it was him, he might have gone even further than the Eternal Sovereign. "Your soul is more like mine. You don't care about small things and do as you please. Staying in the sinner's land might be a blessing. Entering the eternal world, your ending might be the same as mine, or even worse." The Eternal Sovereign reminded. Yi Qinghan's brows trembled. His rebellious heart surged. The more others didn't let him enter the eternal world, the more he wanted to go. Yi Qinghan's soul fluctuations were abnormal, and the Eternal Sovereign immediately sensed it. Not only was he not angry, he even laughed and said, "You are becoming more and more like me. You have a rebellious bone in your heart, and no one can pull it out." Eternal Sovereigns were truly terrifying. Even if Yi Qinghan was thinking about something, he could sense it through the fluctuations of his soul. This was not mind reading, but it was more accurate than mind reading. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Then leave hell. "Staying here for too long won't do you any good," the Eternal One reminded him. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath and asked respectfully, "Senior, how can we restore the memories of the souls in hell? How could he bring his soul back to the 9 realms without going through samsara? Please enlighten me, Senior." If you want to restore the memories of your soul, you must first understand why they dissipated. The bridge of coping is filled with irreversible order. Order takes away all the impurities related to the soul. Only pure soul energy can cross the bridge of coping. Memories are also impurities. Once they are washed away, they cannot be restored, the Eternal One said faintly. Yi Qinghan stared at the sky, not panicking. Although the Eternal One said so, he did not deny that the memories could not be restored. "As you think, there are loopholes in any order." The Eternal One spoke again, "Everything is orderly. Wherever the energy dissipates, it will return. As long as the will of the soul is strong enough, they can go against the bridge of coping and recover their memories. Perhaps it is not complete, but it will be slowly recovered." Yi Qinghan listened quietly, grasping every detail. Now that he knew the method, he finally became excited. But the Eternal One immediately poured cold water on him, coldly reminding him, "It is very dangerous to go against the bridge of coping. The hurricane above can tear apart powerful soul bodies. You may not be able to survive. If you let the 2 weak souls in your soul go against the bridge of coping, it is likely to cause an irreversible situation. In the end, your souls will scatter and you will not be able to find them." Yi Qinghan sucked in a breath of cold air. This risk was obviously not worth taking. "Have you thought about it? Do you want to take this risk? If you are not willing to take the risk, there is no need to know how to bring the soul body back to the human world," the Eternal One said faintly. Yi Qinghan's big hands trembled nervously. Compared to losing by Shaoxing and Emperor Yi forever, he would rather lose them temporarily. But after samsara, Emperor Yi and Bai Shaoxing may not be able to recover their memories. If they could not recover their memories, how could he find them? There were too many problems. If he made a mistake, it was no different from losing them. Where there are gains, there are losses, and where there are losses, there are gains. The more you cling to it, the more you will lose. If you want to become a supreme cultivator, women will always be a foil. "You're not like me," the Eternal One said calmly. "Senior, these 2 people are too important to me. I am not willing to lose them and I cannot lose them," Yi Qinghan said firmly. "If you don't want to lose them, then you can only become the most powerful existence. Let all things exist because of your will. Heaven and earth are immortal, and I am immortal. And you, at least for now, are unable to do so." "Some people are destined to be lost," the Eternal One whispered. The divine bird was not willing to give up, so it continued to provoke him. "You are an Eternal One. Can't you even restore the memories of an ant? It seems that I have overestimated the Eternal One." What? The world changed color, the red moon surged, the light distorted in the sky, forming a huge afterimage. Its majestic eyes were even more terrifying than the red moon. It looked down from the sky and stared at the divine bird. "Little thing, back then I spoke to the Eternal Overlord with this attitude. In the end, I was imprisoned here for countless years. Do you want to accompany me?" the Eternal One asked. Gulp. The divine bird trembled in fear and shook its head repeatedly. Then, it flew back into Yi Qinghan's sea of wisdom, not daring to emerge again. "Senior, please forgive this lowly one. This divine bird was just boasting. It was not disrespectful to you," Yi Qinghan hastily explained. In the face of this illusory afterimage, Yi Qinghan felt powerless. Even calculating heaven would find it difficult to escape the gaze of this afterimage. If he had to face the Eternal One's true body, even if countless realm lords joined forces, they would still find it difficult to escape the destruction of a strand of will. The divine bird was so frightened that it dared not send out any soul fluctuations. Yi Qinghan was also drenched in cold sweat. He had no choice but to lower his arrogant head. The Eternal One did not get angry. Perhaps it was because his noble soul could not be blasphemed by others. His earlier reaction was just a subconscious one. He quickly retracted his aura of power. Send them to reincarnation. That way, the chances of them surviving and recovering their memories will be much higher. However, their reincarnation location will definitely be in Eternal World. If you want to find them, you will have to enter Eternal World. Think about it. If there are no other questions, just leave, the Eternal One said. Senior, please enlighten me. What is eternal? Yi Qinghan did not want to miss this opportunity and quickly asked. Chapter 1632. What is eternal? This question had been in Yi Qinghan's mind for many years, but he had never had an answer. Even when he saw this sinner's ancestor, he could not give a definite answer. What is eternal? The Eternal One muttered to himself and fell into deep thought. It seemed that he did not know what eternal was. What do you think is eternal in the world? The Eternal One asked. Heaven is eternal. Everything else can be destroyed. Yi Qinghan quickly replied. The Eternal One's afterimage pondered again. After a long time, he shook his head and said, Wrong. Heaven is not the only eternal existence in the world. For example, even if he can suppress me, he can't kill me. Even if he imprisons me for billions of eras, as long as heaven is not destroyed, I will not die. Then what do you rely on to reach Eternal World? How do you circulate your power? Yi Qinghan asked curiously. I rely on my mind, my soul. The Eternal One said faintly, Eternal One, the body can decay, but the soul will not. When you leave the body, perhaps you are eternal. Is there a stronger existence above eternal? Yi Qinghan asked again. The Eternal One pondered for a moment and replied, There are strong and weak eternal ones. It depends on the strength of the soul. No one can surpass a powerful Eternal One, so eternal is the end. Then the person who imprisoned you also did not break through eternal? Yi Qinghan was puzzled. The Eternal One in front of him was ridiculously powerful, so why was he imprisoned? What level did the person who imprisoned him reach? He is still an Eternal One, but he is the first person to become an Eternal One. He also cultivated a group of Eternal One disciples and founded a supreme sect. He is known as the Godmaker. No one dares to resist him, and no one dares to oppose him. Even an Eternal One has to be respectful when speaking to him. As for me, I am not suitable to bow and scrape, so I am here. The Eternal One smiled as if he was not unwilling. No one can resist? No. If you don't know how to bow, you can stay in the sinner's land. At least you can live freely. Yi Qinghan received a despairing answer. Thank you for clearing my doubts, Senior. This junior will leave now. Yi Qinghan bowed and retreated. Although he had come this time, he had not seen the true body of an eternal. It was a huge regret. The Eternal Sovereign watched as Yi Qinghan left. His eyes flashed and it was unknown what he was thinking. Outside the Tower of Eternity, Yi Qinghan stood at the entrance, pondering whether or not he should let Emperor Yi and Bai Shaoxing reincarnate. According to the Eternal Ones, if they go against the cycle of reincarnation, they will die. Let them enter the cycle of reincarnation. Even if they end up in Eternal World, we will still have a chance to find them, the divine bird whispered. Yi Qinghan's eyes began to ache as he gazed at the eternal divine tower that towered into the clouds. Stroking the surface of the eternal divine tower, Yi Qinghan muttered to himself, I'll be back here. With that, Yi Qinghan decided to let Emperor Yi and Bai Shaoxing enter the cycle of reincarnation. Only by letting go could he obtain them. If he brought them back to the Bridge of Helplessness, he would lose them forever. Send them to the 16th District's reincarnation pool. Yi Qinghan made his final decision. Every district had a reincarnation pool. However, the number of people that could enter the reincarnation pool in the previous districts was too small. Moreover, they could not enter the reincarnation pool with complete soul bodies. There were even fewer blessings that could be bestowed upon those who entered the cycle of reincarnation. Moreover, there was a certain difference in where one would enter the cycle of reincarnation. Every day, a large amount of soul energy would enter the reincarnation pool to recombine and enter the cycle of reincarnation. However, if a complete soul body wanted to enter the reincarnation pool, it would need the city lord's approval and they would have to line up one by one. As for what kind of blessings they would receive, it would be determined by the order of reincarnation. Yi Qinghan was unwilling to go through the proper channels. If the 16th District City Lord did not agree to let Emperor Yi enter the cycle of reincarnation, wouldn't all his previous efforts be wasted? Let's go snatch the reincarnation pool and send them into the cycle of reincarnation first, Yi Qinghan said firmly. After that, Yi Qinghan rushed towards the 16th District's City Lord's mansion. The 16th District was huge and there were countless small cities. In each city, there was a small reincarnation pool. However, they could only reincarnate those scattered energies. Complete souls had to be reincarnated in the main city. Swoosh 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 dot swoosh swoosh swoosh. Yi Qinghan's figure flashed. After a few months of dodging the patrols and killing the ferocious beasts, he arrived at the Creator City, which was the closest to the main city. He found that there were many ghosts and deities in this area. Just like humans, they had become special existences in hell. Some of them were even unwilling to enter the cycle of reincarnation. Instead, they devoured the energies in hell and became stronger. These ghosts and deities were no longer the same as when they were alive. They had too much life energy mixed into their bodies. Their minds were chaotic and their desire to kill was especially strong. They would kill at the slightest disagreement. The patrols and the city lord of Reincarnation City would not interfere. Yi Qinghan secretly devoured the energies of a few ghosts and deities. His exhaustion was gone and he rushed towards the main city again. The main city was grand and magnificent. There were 6 huge reincarnation pools in it that controlled the 6 paths of reincarnation. The ghosts and deities wandered around aimlessly. The patrols did not stop them and allowed them to enter the city. Yi Qinghan pretended to be dull and walked towards the inner city. After sneaking into the inner city, he found that the tunnels in the city extended in all directions. However, there were many complete souls being escorted in one direction by the patrols. The 2 sides were heavily guarded. It must be an important place. The land of reincarnation should be in that direction. Go and check it out. Yi Qinghan said secretly. The divine bird observed from Yi Qinghan's shoulder. It seized an opportunity and rushed into the forest. It hid behind the ancient trees and flowers and rushed towards the depths of the forest. No patrols would pay attention to a little bird, let alone think that it was a divine bird with intelligence and memory. Even if they found it, they would not care. The divine bird flew for about an hour without any obstructions. Finally, it found 6 reincarnation pools. However, they were all guarded by a large group of extremely powerful experts. The security was very strict. Complete soul bodies were constantly sent into the reincarnation pools. After half a day of observation, it found that the patrols were very nice to some of the souls. They were all sent into the reincarnation pool in the middle. It was obvious that those who were reincarnated in the reincarnation pool were people with great opportunities. Furthermore, their backgrounds were not small. In the future, they would be reincarnated into a large family in the great world. The divine bird remembered it and quietly retreated. After returning to the city, it found Yi Qinghan. The divine bird had a wretched expression and smiled sinisterly. If I were to reincarnate again, do you think I would be reincarnated into an Eternal's family and be nurtured by an Eternal? Yi Qinghan snorted and said, You can try. If you reincarnate before your time is up, be careful of dying prematurely. Ahem, I'm just saying. Following Master is better than following an Eternal. The divine bird replied affirmatively. Yi Qinghan wandered around the city for half a day. When the sky turned dark, the faint red moonlight scattered and darkened the space. Under the divine bird's lead, Yi Qinghan took the opportunity to rush towards the reincarnation pool. Chapter 1633. The reincarnation pool was guarded by nearly 1,000 high-level patrol envoys. There were even 7 sector lord-level guardians. It was impossible for anyone to get close. The path was filled with patrol envoys. There was a post every 100 meters, guarding the reincarnation pool like an iron bucket. Yi Qinghan took advantage of the darkness to shuttle between the two sides of the path, quickly approaching the reincarnation pool. Fortunately, the defense was lax. The patrol envoys thought that no one would dare to get close, so they did not pay attention. In addition, he was strong enough. No one noticed him when he was less than 100 meters from the reincarnation pool. However, there were so many experts guarding here. It would not be easy to break through the defense and send Emperor Yi and Bai Xiaoxing's souls into the reincarnation pool. How about we lure them away? Yi Qinghan looked at the divine bird and said. The divine bird rolled its eyes and said, "It's not good to leave such an important task to me, is it? No bargaining. I have to stay here and find a chance to send them into the reincarnation pool. If you stay here, even if you lure half of them away, you won't be able to break through the other half," Yi Qinghan said in a low voice. The divine bird was helpless. Its wretched eyes looked around and slowly retreated. It found a safe place and suddenly shouted, "Not good. The city lord is dead." Boom. This scream broke the silence of the 16th District Reincarnation City. It was like a sudden clap of thunder, resounding through the clouds. What? The city lord is dead? How is that possible? Who's talking nonsense? Hua plus the 7 guardians near the reincarnation pool were shocked. They discussed among themselves. The patrol envoys were in an uproar. They did not know what was going on. Someone come quickly. The city lord is dead. The divine bird changed its voice and shouted. Its voice echoed in the area. It seemed to come from outside and attracted the attention of many patrol envoys. The 7 guardians' expressions changed. They looked at each other and said, "Old 3, Old 5, Old 7, you 3 stay here. The rest of you follow me outside to see who's shouting." Whoosh! The leader of the guardians took away 4 guardians and hundreds of patrol envoys. They were searching for the source of the sound. The divine bird kept changing its position and messing up the patrol envoys' defenses. Yi Qinghan watched as the guardian took away half of his forces. He began to slowly move forward, looking for an opportunity. His gaze was fixed on the reincarnation pool in the middle. The reincarnation pool in the middle was guarded by the 3rd guardian. If they wanted to send Emperor Yi and the others in, they had to suppress him. Yi Qinghan clenched his iron fists. His breathing was steady as a long knife appeared in his hand. He suddenly rose from the ground and swept past the patrol envoys on the periphery. He raised his knife and slashed at the guardian on the left. Boom! Swish! The violent blade was like a bolt of lightning that was extremely swift and fierce. It tore through space, and its imposing aura was extremely shocking. Boom! Boom! The guardian on the left hurriedly drew his sword to block, but he was caught off guard and sent flying far away by Yi Qinghan's saber strike. Yi Qinghan slashed out several times as though he was only trying to kill the guardian. Kill! The patrol envoys on the periphery charged at Yi Qinghan, but they could not keep up with his speed. They could only watch as Yi Qinghan chased after the guardian. The 3rd guardian in the middle was immediately alarmed. He drew his sword and slashed at Yi Qinghan. He wanted to surround Yi Qinghan to rescue him, but the distance between him and Yi Qinghan increased. He had no choice but to leave the reincarnation pool. The rightmost guardian also left his post and charged at Yi Qinghan. The 3 of them surrounded Yi Qinghan, suppressing the 9 heavens. They wanted to suppress Yi Qinghan. However, Yi Qinghan's goal was not to kill, but to create a diversion. Swish! Yi Qinghan's figure flashed as he circled around the 3rd guardian and the other patrol, heading straight for the reincarnation pool in the middle. Above the reincarnation pool, a beam of light shot into the sky, containing 7 colors. Those who could enter reincarnation in the reincarnation pool were all wealthy and had extremely high statuses. The order of reincarnation was abnormally strict, and no mistakes were allowed. Yi Qinghan's figure flashed as he swept past from above. He rushed to the reincarnation pool in the middle and sent Emperor Yi and Bai Xiaoxing's souls straight into it. Swish! The reincarnation pool's beam carried the two souls through the stars as it streaked across the sky. Everything was set in stone. Yi Qinghan did not continue the fight as he turned and ran. Not good. He sent two souls into the riches and honor reincarnation pool. The third guardian was enraged as he led the other two guardians in pursuit. The third guardian's angry roar resounded through the clouds, hoping to alert the four guardians on the periphery. Whoosh! The riches and honor reincarnation pool shone brightly as order was thrown into chaos. It stirred up space-time, causing the order to change in an earth-shattering manner. What's going on? The guardians on the periphery gave up on searching for the divine bird and charged over with swords in hand. He sent two unknown souls into the riches and honor pool. He caused the order to change. Capture him! The third guardian roared. This was like poking a hornet's nest. The leader of the guardians roared and alarmed the city's defenses. Light shone brightly and shot into the clouds. Yi Qinghan could not be bothered. After sending Emperor Yi and Bai Shaoxing into the reincarnation pool, he completed his mission and turned to leave. He was so fast that even his shadow was hard to catch. It was impossible for the seven guardians to catch him. If he wanted to escape, no one would be able to catch him except for the soul of an eternal. Whoosh whoosh whoosh! Yi Qinghan transformed into a bolt of lightning and left the region. At this moment, the divine bird had already run to the city gates. Follow me! Yi Qinghan beckoned with his hand and grabbed the divine bird in his palm before rushing towards the city gates. Boom! The city gates were tightly shut as a large number of patrols rushed over, hoping to stop Yi Qinghan in the city. Whoosh whoosh whoosh! Whoosh! Yi Qinghan's mad blade swept across, cutting open a path and killing hundreds of patrols. He rushed to the gate and pulled it open with his big hand. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan transformed into a stream of light and flew out of the city. No one could stop him. After a while, Yi Qinghan completely disappeared into the night. However, the 16th district was in an uproar. To enter the riches and honor pool, every quota was fixed and no one could destroy it, not even the city lord. This was because the quota was set by the Eternal of the 18th district. Yi Qinghan had sent two people away at once through the riches and honor reincarnation pool. The light of the 6 reincarnation pools was chaotic and disorderly, which alarmed the city lord of Reincarnation City. What's going on? Who touched the reincarnation pool? A dignified old man roared angrily. This person was the city lord of the 16th district, a supreme existence. Although he was not an eternal, his real strength was definitely comparable to Swan Potion's. Even Swan Potion was not his opponent. There's a group of people of unknown origin shouting outside. The city lord has passed away. I brought a group of people over to investigate, but they actually had people guarding nearby. When we left, they messed up the deployment and sent 2 people's souls into the pool of riches. City Lord, please punish us. The 7 guardian envoys' faces were pale as they explained in fear. The old man's face was gloomy. He took out a reincarnation scripture and gently flipped through it. The path of Emperor Yi and Bai Shaoxing's reincarnation was displayed. His face changed greatly. Damn it! They've reincarnated and become the children of an eternal. The old man was furious. If it did not involve an eternal, he could make up for it by completely strangling the souls of the 2 people. But they were the children of an eternal, twins. If they were killed in the cradle, an eternal's anger could overturn hell. What should we do? The guardian asked in fear. Chapter 1634. Yi Qinghan had changed the order of reincarnation in the 16th district. Moreover, it was the order set by the eternal sovereign. He had caused a great disaster. The 16th district was completely sealed off. The Samsara city lord had issued a kill order of the highest level, to kill without mercy. The 16th district was even bigger than the 9 worlds heaven. However, under the order of the Samsara city lord, all the major entrances were sealed off. He wanted to capture Yi Qinghan and his accomplices. Yi Qinghan hid in the darkness. He didn't take the official road but chose to walk in the ravines. However, he would encounter many ferocious beasts and ferocious ghostly immortals. Some ghostly immortals devoured endless energy and were much stronger than the guardians. However, they devoured too much energy and were filled with negative emotions. They were too murderous and no one dared to provoke them. Most of the souls in the 16th district were overlords of Eternal World. After being killed, they were pulled into this place through reincarnation. Their cultivation bases were not weak. Even the weakest of them was a giant god. As they fought each other, ghost gods of the sector lord level could be found everywhere. Yi Qinghan walked between the ravines and cliffs. He wanted to leave the 16th district and return to the 15th district. However, the journey was difficult. In 3 days he had only walked a few thousand li. How long would it take him to walk in the huge 16th district? Master, let's ask the Eternal Sovereign for help. Let him send us directly back to the 9 worlds heaven? The divine bird suggested helplessly. If he could help, would I still need to send Emperor Yi and Bai Xiaoxing's souls into the reincarnation pool? Yi Qinghan said with a calm expression. Damn, at this speed, it will take us tens of thousands of years to reach the other side of the bridge of helplessness. By then it will be too late. The divine bird replied unwillingly. It's better to rely on ourselves than on others. There will always be a way. At worst, we can just force our way through. Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed coldly. He glanced at the foot of a mountain and saw a black shadow slowly approaching. It was a specter god. It was filled with a sinister killing intent and had a very strong cultivation base. It was unknown how much soul energy it had devoured to form such a powerful specter god. Yi Qinghan licked his lips and clenched his fists. He slowly stood up and said in a low voice, "If that's the case, then I'll start devouring these specters and strengthen myself." Yi Qinghan had eternal memories and wisdom. He was different from these ghostly deities. They only devoured energy to force it into their souls. They did not know how to resolve the evil tendencies and negative emotions. However, Yi Qinghan was different. As long as he had time, he could resolve the negative emotions and evil tendencies. Boom! The demon god's sinister eyes looked particularly terrifying under the night sky. His eyes were red, filled with murderous intent and greed. These ghosts and gods were no different from humans. They were just human monsters without much intelligence. Yi Qinghan and the demon god slowly approached each other, their gazes filled with killing intent. Whoosh-boom! Yi Qinghan transformed into berserk and slashed at the demon god. His speed was as fast as lightning as he attacked from the left. The blade's radiance looked particularly poignant under the red moonlight. The demon god opened his mouth, revealing his sinister fangs. Following which, he transformed into a cloud of smoke that enveloped Yi Qinghan. Screech! The demon god's mournful roar shattered one's eardrums. A slightly weaker soul would not be able to withstand such a roar and would easily faint. However, the demon god had chosen the wrong opponent. Yi Qinghan roared and gave the demon god a taste of his own medicine. The dragon's roar caused the demon god's soul to dissipate. The energy in his body was already very scattered and had not been completely refined. After such a shock, it collapsed again. Yi Qinghan formed seals with his palms and activated the yin-yang mystic record. He rushed up and unleashed a divine radiance that enveloped the dissipating energy and completely imprisoned it. Devour! Yi Qinghan's soul erupted with a terrifying suction force, sucking all the dissipating energy into his body and refining it. Roar, roar, roar! Screeched at the demon god let out a mournful cry and struggled with all his might. However, he could not break free from the yin-yang mystic record's restraint. His soul energy gradually decreased and was constantly devoured by Yi Qinghan. Roar, roar, roar! The demon god begged and roared, but Yi Qinghan had already decided to devour the energy to strengthen himself and forcefully break through. 2 hours later, the demon god's energy was completely digested by Yi Qinghan. A sector lord's soul was absorbed into his soul just like that. Furthermore, all the negative energy was completely purified and became his own energy. After devouring a demon god of the same level, Yi Qinghan's soul had strengthened a little. Although it was only a little, his battle strength had increased by almost 30%. No wonder people want to take shortcuts. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath and thought to himself, such a method of leveling up would cause anyone to fall into a demonic state. As the saying goes, greed is like fire and without control, it will start a prairie fire. Desire is like water and without control, it will overflow. If one does not know how to control it, anyone will go crazy. The divine bird asked wretchedly, "Can I devour a human's soul energy? If not, help me refine a sector lord bird demon god. I also want to become a sector lord bird." The divine bird could not forget the sector lord level. As long as it could become a sector lord, it was willing to pay any price. Yi Qinghan shook his head and warned, "Although your soul is strong, it is still not at the sector lord level. If I let you devour a sector lord's energy, the one in control will be another life form and you will disappear into nothingness. Then forget it. Pretend I didn't say anything." The divine bird shook its head. After allowing the divine bird to fool around for a while, Yi Qinghan continued to bring the divine bird and began to hunt the demon god. Vicious creatures. Yi Qinghan was incomparably powerful. Whenever he saw a demon god, he would slaughter and devour it. Even vicious creatures could not escape his fate. At this moment, he was like a terrifying life form. Along the way, he killed and escaped. After devouring 3 powerful demon gods, his battle strength almost doubled. However, he was still at the sector lord level. Not far ahead, there was a sentry post. The city tower was built between 2 steep mountains. The cliff was steep and there were no climbing points. If one wanted to pass through this place, they would have to take the official road into the city. Disguise as a soul body, Yi Qinghan muttered. His eyes suddenly glazed over as he slowly approached the city gate. There were patrols everywhere at the city gate. The security was abnormally tight. The sector lord guardian stood on the city gate tower and looked down at the city gate. His eyes were dazed as he stared at Yi Qinghan. He felt that something was amiss. "Detain that soul body." The guardian coldly ordered the patrols at the city gate. Yi Qinghan was shocked, but his expression did not change. He thought to himself, "Could it be that I've been exposed? Probably because your soul is too strong and attracted his attention. Be careful." The divine bird warned. Yi Qinghan slowly walked and approached the city gate. However, at this moment, the city gate suddenly closed, blocking him outside. Shiodat swish, swish, swish. More than 10 guards with spears pressed forward. They pointed at Yi Qinghan and berated, "Kneel." Both hands on the ground. Yi Qinghan's eyes were filled with fear. He slowly knelt down, his disguise perfect. At this moment, the sector lord protector jumped down from the 2nd floor and stared at Yi Qinghan with a solemn expression. He took out a rebirth mirror. This was a godly item that could find out where a soul came from. It was a godly item that could find out everything about a soul. "Raise your head and look at the mirror," the guardian coldly ordered. Yi Qinghan had never seen the rebirth mirror before, but that did not mean he did not know its effects. However, the city gate was already sealed. It would be difficult to break in. As long as this city could hold him back for an hour, he could forget about escaping. Chapter 1635. Yi Qinghan calmed himself down and didn't take the initiative to attack. Instead, he raised his head and looked at the mirror of reincarnation without any fear in his eyes. Yin and Yang open, reincarnation appear. What at the mirror of reincarnation shot out a ray of divine light that enveloped Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan's figure appeared in the mirror. Space-time was distorted and the origin of order was revealed. However, it was blurry and couldn't be traced back to its true origin. The guardian frowned as he stared at Yi Qinghan. He didn't see anything wrong. However, the mirror of reincarnation couldn't detect Yi Qinghan's reincarnation origin. This could only mean one thing. The mirror of reincarnation in his hand was too weak while Yi Qinghan's cultivation was too high. A high-level sector lord existence? The guardian was incomparably shocked. It was very difficult for such an existence to die. No matter if it was someone from a small world or an existence from eternal world, the death of such an existence would be reported. At the very least, the reincarnation city lord would know and treat him well. He wouldn't let him wander in hell. "Get up. Please follow me into the city. Let me inform the city lord to come. The guardian was much more amiable. He didn't dare to offend such an existence. He bowed and helped Yi Qinghan up. Yi Qinghan's face was expressionless. There was a faint light in his eyes. Fellow Taoist, do you have any memories? The guardian asked in a serious tone. Yi Qinghan shook his head. The confusion in his eyes didn't seem to be an act. He was an emperor who specialized in acting. He could act out whatever he wanted. Then, fellow Taoist, please follow me into the city. Before the city lord arrives, please stay here. Otherwise, it will be difficult for me. The guardian gestured with his hand and the city gate opened again. Yi Qinghan followed the guardian into the city. However, the guardian informed the East Gate guardian and the various experts in the city to strictly monitor Yi Qinghan. As long as there was any strange movement, dozens of experts would instantly rush out from the city. An urgent message was sent to the main city. A large number of experts from the outer regions rushed towards the city. Yi Qinghan exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and arrived at a courtyard. He discovered that there were many experts watching outside the courtyard. It was difficult to leave the courtyard. His divine sense swept towards the East Gate. If he wanted to leave this place, he could only go through the East Gate. The number of East Gate patrol envoys was 3 times that of the West Gate patrol envoys. There were also 3 guardian envoys. It was impossible for them to leave quietly. They could only force their way through. Once he forced his way through, his identity would be exposed, and they would know who he was trying to capture. In the future, it would be difficult for him to move an inch. As expected of Hell reincarnation, they have so many Sector Lord level experts. The divine bird felt that it was a pity. It was so smart and intelligent, yet it wasn't a Sector Lord level existence. The heavens must be blind. Yi Qinghan chuckled and replied coolly, there are countless minor worlds and eternal world. Those who truly die will be reincarnated here. This is just a small place within a small region. Look at the entire 16th district. There are countless world lords. If we were to combine the entire 18th district of Hell, the number of world lords here would definitely not be any weaker than Eternal World. Then what should we do? It's impossible to sneak out. We also can't wait for the Samsara City Lord to come personally. Otherwise, it would be even harder to escape. The divine bird asked anxiously. Tonight. After saying that, Yi Qinghan retracted his aura as if he had disappeared. He sat in the courtyard and cultivated, refining the soul energy of the ghost deities. The high-ranking patrol envoys guarding the courtyard immediately sensed that Yi Qinghan had disappeared. They quickly notified the guardian envoys. In an instant, the courtyard was surrounded and the gate was forced open. The 3 guardian envoys rushed into the courtyard. When they saw Yi Qinghan in seclusion, they couldn't help but frown. Yi Qinghan opened his eyes slightly and looked at them with a frown. The guardian envoys couldn't sense Yi Qinghan's presence from outside. However, they could see him when they entered the courtyard. This made them very shocked. Sorry to disturb you, fellow Taoist. Please help yourself. The guardian envoys awkwardly left the courtyard. Yi Qinghan smiled as he watched them leave. Then he retracted his aura once again. There were no soul waves or energy waves. The gate was opened again. Seeing Yi Qinghan sitting motionless in the courtyard, the guardian envoys couldn't help but feel angry. Bang! The gate was closed again. The guardian envoys said coldly, watch the surroundings. No one is allowed to rest for the next few days. Keep a close eye on them. Even if a bug comes out of the courtyard, kill it. Yi Qinghan was deliberately challenging their nerves. He wanted to numb them so that it would be easier for him to act at night. Time passed. Under the pale red moonlight, Yi Qinghan evolved a wisp of his soul. It looked exactly like him. Sitting in the courtyard, it emitted faint energy waves. However, he quietly retreated into his room, looking for a chance to leave. There were at least 100 patrol envoys around the courtyard. Their people were everywhere. They didn't even blink. It was difficult to leave under their watchful eyes. However, there were many ancient trees and flowers around the courtyard. Yi Qinghan moved slowly. He retracted his soul energy and didn't release any aura. He kept shuttling through the shadows. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan stood under an ancient tree. He suddenly sped up and entered another courtyard. He was so fast that there was only a trace of him. It was as if his eyes were playing tricks on him. The patrol envoy's eyes trembled. They looked in the direction that Yi Qinghan disappeared and asked the others, "Did you see a shadow pass by just now?" Don't talk. Just keep an eye on the courtyard." Yi Qinghan hid in the darkness. Using stellar transposition, he constantly avoided the patrols of the patrol envoys and approached the East Gate. At night, the East Gate's defenses didn't relax at all. Instead, they became even more strict. However, there was always a way out. A lone patrol envoy walked along the street towards the city center. As soon as he reached a dark area, Yi Qinghan reached out and grabbed his neck. His soul swept into the patrol envoy's consciousness, destroying and devouring his soul. In no time at all, Yi Qinghan put on the patrol envoy's uniform and walked up the city gate tower. Every level of the city gate tower had a window for observation and attack. Yi Qinghan came near a window and saw several patrol envoys standing by it. They were staring outside intently. A smile appeared on his face. The patrol envoys were whispering about the highest level of assassination order. "This is the first time I've seen such an assassination order. Moreover, they don't even know who they're after. They don't even know how many people they're after. It's really strange. Who says it isn't? Even now, there's no definite information. I just know that it's not just one person. These people are really bold. They actually dared to touch the riches and honor reincarnation pool. They're really courting death." Yi Qinghan hid in the dark and watched them. He was thinking about how to lure this group of people away. The longer he waited, the easier it would be for him to be exposed. At this moment, a ray of light appeared in the sky. The siren wailed and alerted every corner. "Seal all the entrances and exits of the city. Seal all the windows." An angry roar resounded through the sky and echoed in the small city. All the patrol envoys rushed towards the two city gates. The city gate tower's entrance was the first to be sealed. It only allowed people to enter and exit. Chapter 1636. Whoosh! Lights shone in the city. The inspectors were in a mess, inspecting every corner. Their target was Yi Qinghan. "Investigate it. If you can't find him, no one can leave the city, including the guardians." With a single order, the city was completely sealed off. "Seal the windows and report downstairs. Everyone is a suspect." At this moment, Yi Qinghan walked out and said coldly to the guards at the windows. The guards were stunned and quickly sealed the windows. They had to unlock the runes to open the windows. Those who didn't understand runes couldn't open the seals. The guards quickly left the windows. Yi Qinghan pretended to move to the next window. But as soon as the guards left, he quickly retreated. He operated his soul to the highest state and mastered every mystery of the runes. With a wave of his hand, the runes were unlocked and the windows were opened again. Swish! Yi Qinghan jumped lightly and slid down the city wall. Large searchlight runes kept flashing on the city wall, illuminating the outside of the city as if it was daytime. But there were still traces to be found. Yi Qinghan ran along the tracks of the searchlight runes and quickly rushed out of the range of the searchlight. Whoosh! 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 Yi Qinghan left the city in a few flashes. Whoosh! Whoosh! Yi Qinghan breathed out a few times and finally relaxed. He hid behind a huge rock, identified the direction, and then rushed in the direction of the 15th district. Yi Qinghan's escape caused a great uproar. After all, he was a suspect. The master of Samsara City was alerted. The master of Samsara City led a large number of powerful troops to this place. When he learned that Yi Qinghan had escaped through the window, he went to the window in person and looked into the distance. There was a touch of cold arrogance in his majestic eyes. He said in a low voice, "Seal the north and south of the city. Extend the blockade to the official road and block the official road to the 15th district. In addition, inform the people in the 15th district to help defend the city. He is in this area and can't escape from me." Master of Samsara City. Some guardian envoys accepted the order and left. The atmosphere in the city was extremely stifling. Even the guardian envoys did not dare to be impudent. The 18th district has issued an order. Anyone who dares to change the order of the samsara pool of riches and honor will be caught and sent back to the 18th district. He will never be able to rise again. Samsara city governor said coldly. Sir, should we capture him alive? A super existence bowed and asked. It doesn't matter if he's dead or alive. Even if he's dead, his soul energy can't escape punishment. The master of Samsara city put his hands behind his back and looked in the direction of the window. Then he pointed to the depths and said, all guardians are to enter this area, especially the main road leading to District 15. Patrol it strictly. If you see anyone suspicious, kill without mercy. With this order, Yi Qinghan found it even more difficult to move. This vast 16th district was filled with experts. Inspectors, defenders, and soldiers quickly appeared in his line of sight. These sons of bitches, isn't it just 2 more people entering Samsara? What's the big deal? Do they have to deal with us like this? The divine bird said angrily. Yi Qinghan smiled and said in a low voice, the order of the Samsara pool of riches and honor was set by an immortal. We are not allowed to provoke it. These Samsara city governors are just slaves. How can they not be angry when their master is provoked? An immortal, that's awesome. If only I could become an immortal. Then I could create 2 hells, one for samsara and the other for fun, the divine bird said wretchedly. Yi Qinghan smiled but didn't say anything. The more dangerous a place was, the safer it would be. Those guardian envoys definitely wouldn't risk their lives just to capture him. At the very least, they wouldn't risk their lives. In this way, he hid in the cave during the day to rest and moved forward at night. On the way, he killed several ghosts and immortals and refined all their energy. His battle strength had reached the peak of the advanced Sector Lord level. At that time, he could step into the peak of Sector Lord level. At that time, he could kill a Sector Lord Guardian with a wave of his hand. However, to break through to the peak of Sector Lord level was easier said than done. According to rough calculations, to advance, he would need to devour at least 10,000 Sector Lord ghosts and immortals. If he wanted to reach the peak of Sector Lord level, he would need the energy of at least 1,000,000 ghosts and immortals. Hell would definitely not allow such an existence to appear because he could already change the order. If someone really devoured 1,000 Sector Lord ghosts and immortals, it would definitely attract the attention of an immortal. No one would interfere if one cultivated to the peak of Sector Lord level. However, this kind of unorthodox method was not allowed by the Samsara order. Yi Qinghan also did not think of devouring ghosts and immortals to advance. He was anxious to return home. This day, Yi Qinghan chose to take the risk and continued to approach the 15th district. In the distance, in a ravine, there was a ghost and immortal full of hostility fighting a ferocious beast. His aura was extremely domineering. He relied entirely on his physical body and his moves were bold and bold. It was actually similar to Yi Qinghan's aura. Boom! What at a slender mountain peak was broken by the ghost and immortal with a sweep of his leg. The ghost was tall and sturdy and had a dignified expression. However, the redness in his eyes was very dense. His hostility was soaring and destroyed his aura. However, one could tell that he was an indomitable man when he was alive. The ferocious beast had some fear in its eyes and kept retreating. However, the ghost held a short blade and chased after it. After a few slashes, the ferocious beast screamed in agony. Its blood dyed the moon red. The entire ravine was destroyed and turned into a mess. The ghost roared. His eyes were filled with killing intent. He directly tore the ferocious beast apart and devoured it. His strength increased rapidly. A low-level Sector Lord ghost could be considered a hegemon of a region. Yi Qinghan, who was far away, felt the earth trembling. After confirming the direction, he sped up. An hour later, he entered the ravine. Looking at the saber scars on both sides of the ravine, he simulated the attack route of the ghost and was shocked. Shwa shwa shwa. Yi Qinghan actually simulated the attack route of the ghost and immortal. Broken Dragon's Saber Technique. This is the Dragon's Resentment Saber Technique. Yi Qinghan's blood and chi churned. Even his soul was stirred. He didn't expect to see this familiar saber technique after so many years. What? Dragon's resentment? The divine bird was also shocked. Yi Qinghan had three most important people by his side. Dragon's resentment, Yan Ao, and Huang Peng. Which one of them wasn't a dragon or phoenix among men? Any one of them was a hegemon of a region. Yes, this is the dragon's resentment saber technique. However, there are some changes. I'm not sure if it's the dragon's resentment or a coincidence. Yi Qinghan narrowed his eyes and stared at the direction of the blood. He quickly rushed over. Xiao xiao xiao. Peng ping peng. Yi Qinghan stepped on the ravine and shuttled through the wilderness like an agile monkey. His eyes were like lightning as he extended his divine sense outwards, searching for the location of the ghost and immortal. The ghost's speed was ultimately slower than Yi Qinghan. It quickly entered the range of Yi Qinghan's divine sense. Yi Qinghan jumped a few times and passed through a mountain ridge. He entered a ravine and blocked the path of a bearded ghost. Chapter 1637. Yi Qinghan's speed was so fast that he appeared in front of the bearded specter god. Before the bearded specter god could get a good look at him, the specter god's dagger tore through space and arrived in front of Yi Qinghan. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan quickly retreated and dodged the sure kill attack. Thud thud thud. Boom! After Yi Qinghan retreated, the dagger tore through the cliffs on both sides. It was a terrifying sight. Stop! I mean no harm. Yi Qinghan steadied himself and did not attack. However, the bearded demon did not stop. The dagger's aura was like a rainbow as it swung in and out like a dragon soaring into the sky. It was extremely domineering. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Whoosh! The dagger flashes tore through space and slashed around Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan kept dodging and was increasingly certain that this was the dragon ruin saber technique. However, this demon had subconsciously executed it. Although he could not see the face clearly, he was certain that this person was the dragon of resentment. Dragon of resentment. It's me. Yi Qinghan growled as the aura of desolation burst forth and suppressed the dragon of resentment. The dragon of resentment's aura stagnated. Without memories, he only paused for a moment before the evil aura on his body surged in all directions. Hum! The dagger flashes sliced through the rocks and ancient trees at lightning speed. It had no intention of stopping. Is he the dragon of resentment? Why don't I recognize you? The divine bird asked hurriedly. He has devoured too much soul energy and his evil aura is too strong. The negative energy has caused his soul to lose control and enter chi deviation. He needs to completely purify his soul before he can regain some rationality. Yi Qinghan kept dodging as he explained. His eyes were like torches as he searched for an opportunity to attack. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Boom boom boom. The cliffs were constantly sliced apart by the dagger. The dragon of resentment's dagger technique was domineering and fierce, forcing Yi Qinghan to retreat. He could not injure the dragon of resentment and had to capture him alive. It was extremely difficult. Even with Yi Qinghan's cultivation, he was helpless. It could be seen how much energy the dragon of resentment had devoured to become such a powerful demon god. Yi Qinghan constantly changed his position in search of an opportunity to attack. However, his saber technique was flawless. Even though the resentful dragon had no intelligence and was only a ferocious beast that only knew how to attack, it made it impossible to attack. Looks like we can only force our way through. Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed with a cold light. He mobilized the yin-yang profound record and rushed into the air, illuminating the entire canyon with divine light. Boundless heaven and earth, the laws of yin and yang. 1 controls heaven and earth, 2 controls yin and yang, and 3 controls the myriad. Suppress, boom. The yin-yang profound record spun rapidly, forming a vortex that enveloped the resentful dragon. Boom. The yin-yang mysterious record descended like the heavens were descending, suppressing the earth. The resentful dragon was restrained to the point where it couldn't struggle and the earth was collapsing from the pressure. Ka-ka-ka. The mountain rocks shattered, and a deep abyss appeared under his feet. His leg bones were all twisted. The dragon of resentment growled. Its physical body was extremely strong, and it showed no signs of collapsing. Dragon of resentment, I'm desolation. Stop resisting, or your physical body will collapse. Yi Qinghan gritted his teeth and growled. His forehead was dripping with sweat. This move consumed a lot of energy. Even though he had devoured all the energy of more than 10 ghosts, he could only use 30% of its power. He couldn't control it as he wished. Boom boom boom. The mountain rocks under the resentful dragon's feet crumbled and turned into fine powder. Boom. Yi Qinghan didn't want to hurt the resentful dragon. He slammed his palm on the dragon's chest and snatched the saber with his bare hands. Swish. The short saber was snatched away by Yi Qinghan. The resentful dragon couldn't take it anymore and was finally forced to kneel on the ground by the yin-yang profound record, unable to resist. Bang! The resentful dragon knelt on the ground with its arms supporting it. Its bones were almost crushed. Yi Qinghan adjusted his strength and restrained the resentful dragon. He controlled the yin-yang profound record with his soul and pressed his palms on the resentful dragon's head, helping it refine the resentful aura and negative emotions. Boom boom boom. The resentful dragon let out a miserable cry. If it wasn't for the suppression of the yin-yang profound record, it would have already resisted and killed Yi Qinghan. Black fog appeared above the resentful dragon's head, filled with destruction and slaughter. The ruthless aura spread out and became more and more serious. Yi Qinghan was panting and bleeding from his nose. He was using up more and more energy and his body was getting weaker and weaker. The killing and destruction aura in the resentful dragon's body gradually decreased. The impurities in its soul were rapidly expelled. The resentful aura gradually decreased and its eyes became somewhat empty. After a long time, Yi Qinghan withdrew the yin-yang profound record and weakened the dissipation of the energy. At this moment, the resentful dragon had more or less recovered its consciousness. At least it wasn't like a ferocious beast that only knew how to attack. Now that it had simple thoughts, it raised its head slightly and looked at Yi Qinghan's face. Its breath stagnated and its tightly clenched fists loosened. The resentful dragon was at the realm of Sector Lord. If it had the orthodox cultivation method from the beginning, it would be a powerful guardian and might even be able to control an army. Now that Yi Qinghan had refined its negative energy, its intelligence was rapidly recovering. Ooh! Yi Qinghan panted and finally let go. Although there was still a lot of negative energy and resentful aura in the resentful dragon's body, it was a few hundred times better than before. The muddle-headed resentful dragon finally woke up. It looked at Yi Qinghan in confusion and muttered, "Who are you?" "You and I were brothers when we were alive," Yi Qinghan reminded in a deep voice. The resentful dragon was still confused. It had stayed in hell for so long without reincarnation. Moreover, it came from the land of sinners. It was very difficult for it to reincarnate. It could only devour the energy in hell and cultivate to the ghost god realm. However, the more it cultivated, the more it lost its consciousness. It was like a wild beast. If it hadn't met Yi Qinghan, it would have sunk forever with no chance of reincarnation. "You only need to know that I won't harm you." Yi Qinghan was so excited that his blood and qi were surging. This feeling was even more exciting than obtaining a supreme treasure. It was even happier. "Many thanks. I can feel that you won't harm me," the resentful dragon muttered as it frowned in thought. However, it could not recall anything. Most of the time, it was just a subconscious reaction. "Stay by my side. I will slowly purge all the negative emotions in your body. Then, I will find an opportunity to send you into reincarnation." Yi Qinghan patted the resentful dragon's shoulder and said solemnly, "Reincarnation? Not everyone had the opportunity to reincarnate in the form of a complete soul. One had to have great opportunities and great providence." Yi Qinghan was especially excited to be reunited with his brothers. In just a few days, Yi Qinghan had recovered his strength and expelled all the demonic nature in the resentful dragon's body, allowing him to wake up completely. However, his memories from his previous life had not been restored. At this moment, he was only a soul from back then with a new body. If he was the resentful dragon, then he was. If he was not, then he could not be considered a true resentful dragon. However, to Yi Qinghan, as long as the soul did not change, regardless of the memories, he was still a brother. After the resentful dragon regained his senses, Yi Qinghan thought about it again and decided to separate from him. Otherwise, he would be a burden to the resentful dragon and might not even have a chance to reincarnate. Stay in these dangerous places for 100 years first. Don't devour the energy of those ghosts and deities. When I leave the 16th district, the seal of the 16th district will naturally be lifted. At that time, you can go to the 17th district and find a chance to reincarnate. Perhaps you can join the army first. After you make a contribution, the Samsara City Master will naturally give you some opportunities. Don't ask for riches and honor, just to be reborn as a human. Yi Qinghan reminded him in a low voice. Chapter 1638. Yi Qinghan had no choice but to separate from the dragon of resentment. It might be the safest place for Yi Qinghan to stay alone. The dragon of resentment looked at Yi Qinghan's back with confusion in its eyes. However, Yi Qinghan didn't give him too much of an explanation. Instead, he left the area a moment later. The night was a little gloomy. Yi Qinghan took advantage of the dark clouds and galloped in hell. He rushed quickly toward the official road. Hell was crisscrossed. The city towers cooperated with each other and blocked the area where Yi Qinghan was. The governor of Samsara City led the army to shrink back step by step, ready to catch a turtle in a jar. There were at least 100 guardians and 2 generals at the entrance of the official road to the 15th district. This was the only way out for Yi Qinghan. As long as this road was blocked, Yi Qinghan could not escape even if he had wings. The governor of Samsara City looked murderous. He was not sure if Yi Qinghan was the one who disrupted the order of the Samsara pool. But he was a suspect after all. If he caught one, he would catch his accomplice. The range was getting smaller and smaller. Yi Qinghan was forced into a dead end. The official road was 300 miles ahead. It was full of soldiers. The governor of Samsara City approached from behind. They were only 10,000 miles away from the official road. For experts, 10,000 miles was just a matter of a moment. There were still 3,000 miles to go to the 15th district. But there were so many experts and soldiers gathered at the entrance. The 15th and 14th districts were also looking for him. It was almost impossible to escape. Think of a way or it'll be too late. The divine bird reminded him in a frenzy. Yi Qinghan's eyes were like lightning. He stared at the front left. He could not take the official road. If he wanted to escape, he could only go to the tribe at the bottom of the reincarnation cliff. But what was the reincarnation cliff? It was full of hostility. All the negative emotions in hell were gathered in the reincarnation cliff. If hell was a dangerous place, then the reincarnation cliff was definitely a place of no return. Let's go through the bottom of the reincarnation cliff and climb to the 15th district from there, Yi Qinghan said firmly. The divine bird flapped its wings and roared, "You're crazy!" Are you crazy? That place is filled with the endless negative emotions of hell. Do you think you are an eternal one? If you run in, you won't be able to escape. Yi Qinghan smiled and asked, "There are hundreds of guardians on the official road. Behind them is the Samsara City Lord himself. There are guardians everywhere. Do you know how many sector lords there are? If I were to walk the reincarnation cliff, I might be able to maintain my original heart and not be invaded by external forces. But when it comes to breaking through, I'm definitely not their match." The divine bird wanted to cry, but no tears came out. It said helplessly, "If I had known this would happen, I wouldn't have followed you to hell. When I met the Eternal Sovereign, he was useless. He even scared me half to death. Now, we've been forced into a corner. If there's no other way, let's surrender." You touched the samsara pool of riches and honor, and the Samsara City Governor allowed you to surrender? Besides, you're an accomplice. If they can't spare me, they definitely won't spare you either, Yi Qinghan retorted. The divine bird roared to the sky, "Heavens, please open your eyes. Why am I so unlucky?" "Shut up. When we reach the reincarnation cliff, maintain your original heart with me. No matter how poisonous things are, as long as my soul is intact, they can't invade it. Yi Qinghan looked at the reincarnation cliff in front of him and rushed over with the divine bird. The reincarnation cliff was bottomless. Although the sides were steep, there were climbing points. It wasn't smooth. Yi Qinghan stood on one side of the reincarnation cliff, looking at the bottom of the cliff. His legs were a little sore. He couldn't fly here. If he fell, he would definitely fall to his death. Even cultivators who weren't afraid of heights would tremble at this moment. The divine bird was terrified. It begged Yi Qinghan several times to reconsider, but it had already made up its mind. Yi Qinghan jumped lightly and grabbed a protrusion on the reincarnation cliff. He kept moving down, and the divine bird kept screaming. In the blink of an eye, he had moved down hundreds of meters. However, he didn't know how deep the reincarnation cliff was. Perhaps ever since the reincarnation cliff was formed, no one had gone down. Even the eternal ones didn't know what was below. Yi Qinghan's breathing stabilized. His speed of descent became slower and slower. It became more and more difficult to find a climbing point because it was pitch black below. With a thought, Yi Qinghan summoned the Yin-Yang Profound Record. With a flash of light, the Yin-Yang Profound Record could actually float in the air. The divine bird was overjoyed and hurriedly said, "Let me see if the Yin-Yang Profound Record can withstand my weight. If it can, we can go to the other side through the Yin-Yang Profound Record." Yi Qinghan was also excited. He didn't expect the Yin-Yang Profound Record to be so special. Go. Yi Qinghan waved his hand and sent the divine bird to the Yin-Yang Profound Record. He found that the Yin-Yang Profound Record didn't show any signs of sinking. It was very stable. Yi Qinghan stepped on the Yin-Yang Profound Record. With a thought, he controlled it to move to the other side. Keek! The divine bird was terrified. If the Yin-Yang Profound Record fell down halfway, they would be dead. Large beads of cold sweat appeared on Yi Qinghan's forehead. He carefully adjusted his soul to its strongest state. He couldn't be careless at all. The Yin-Yang Profound Record shone brightly in the depths. It was dark at the bottom. Suddenly, a huge gust of wind blew and the Yin-Yang Profound Record swayed. The divine bird screamed and grabbed Yi Qinghan's clothes in fear. It looked like a whirlpool was surging in the depths. It produced a huge suction force as if it wanted to suck the Yin-Yang Profound Record into the bottom of the cliff. "Speed up!" The divine bird screamed in fear. Yi Qinghan was covered in cold sweat. His soul had almost merged with the Yin-Yang Profound Record. He wanted to use it to break free from the whirlpool. "What the hell is that?" The divine bird shouted. "Reincarnation whirlpool." The Yin-Yang Profound Record sped up, but the suction force pulled them down. The Yin-Yang Profound Record and the reincarnation whirlpool were in a stalemate. The whirlpool was getting bigger and bigger. If this continued, they would be swallowed by the reincarnation whirlpool. The Yin-Yang Profound Record's light was getting stronger and stronger. The light rushed out of the restraints and spread into the sky. If the light was a bit bigger, it would definitely alarm the experts of the 16th district. Boom! Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed coldly. He waved his palm downward, wanting to disperse the reincarnation whirlpool. However, this attack caused a huge problem. The reincarnation whirlpool was like an enraged king. The suction force increased by 100 times and directly tore the Yin-Yang Profound Record apart. Yi Qinghan also screamed. Dark negative emotions came from below. His sea of consciousness was in chaos as if he had encountered a great calamity. Countless angry roars and shrill screams filled his mind. His soul was almost torn apart. Countless ghost-like creatures evolved in his sea of consciousness. They pierced through his soul defense and created illusions. Perhaps this wasn't an illusion at all. It was very real. Yi Qinghan's eyes were also filled with fear and despair. The bottom of the reincarnation cliff couldn't be resisted. Buzz! Suddenly, a destructive hand appeared at the bottom of the reincarnation cliff. It stretched out from the bottom and grabbed at the Yin-Yang Profound Record. Chapter 1639. This big hand made people despair. They couldn't resist at all. The big hand was so lifelike that it actually stretched out from the bottom. It was beyond imagination. Damn. Is there a creature at the bottom of the reincarnation cliff? Yi Qinghan exclaimed. Heaven is jealous of heroic talents. The divine bird, a genius of a generation, a wise almighty, actually died here. The divine bird was terrified. Its voice was hoarse as it roared towards the sky. Almighty Eternal One, I admire you so much. Save this divine bird. As you wish. What if the big hand didn't grab the yin-yang profound record, but supported it like a heavenly pillar? It lifted the yin-yang profound record into the air. With a flick of its finger, Yi Qinghan brought the yin-yang profound record to the ground of the 15th district. Bang! Yi Qinghan slammed his butt to the ground. Holding the yin-yang profound record, he looked down. The big hand at the bottom of the cliff dissipated as if it had never appeared. After all, you are my descendant. Seeing that you dared to touch the riches and honor reincarnation pool, I know that you have inherited my spirit. I saved your life, but you will have to rely on yourself in the future. An eternal one across a district, with his soul in the Tower of Eternity, could actually interfere with the matters of the reincarnation cliff. One could imagine how terrifying his strength was. An eternal one was a supreme existence, an existence that couldn't be resisted. Ugh. You scared me to death. The divine bird patted its chest and gasped. Yi Qinghan was also frightened. He was almost finished. At this moment, looking at the abyss of reincarnation cliff, he still had lingering fear. Fortunately, an eternal one helped me. Yi Qinghan sighed. It's good to have a background. If my old ancestor was an eternal one, I would definitely be better off than you. The divine bird was very jealous. Its words were filled with jealousy. Yi Qinghan sneered. He was too lazy to say more. Taking advantage of the fact that the group of people didn't know that he had entered the 15th district, it was best to quickly leave the area in front. Shua! Yi Qinghan turned into a stream of light and rushed towards the main road. The group of people blocked the entrance to the 16th district, so how could they have predicted that he had already left? In order to flee for his life, Yi Qinghan had already put his life on the line. Yi Qinghan used all his strength to move diagonally for thousands of li. More than 10 days later, Yi Qinghan had already traversed half of the 15th district and entered the official road. With the support of the official road, he entered the 14th district in just a few days. Countless inspectors and troops had been stationed on the official road of the 14th district, all in order to wait for Yi Qinghan. Tianmu Emperor personally arrived at the 14th district's official road. Tianmu Jiao stood beside him with a murderous look on her face. Upon arriving at District 14, Yi Qinghan felt that something was amiss. There were no soldiers guarding the entrance, but there was a murderous aura in the air. It was the murderous aura of the army. It was very pure and made people shudder. What's going on in District 14? The divine bird asked, puzzled. Yi Qinghan shook his head and sped forward slowly. When he reached the exit of District 14, he gradually relaxed. But just as he relaxed, a sense of crisis enveloped him. A majestic aura spread out from the depths. It was the aura of someone in a high position who had been cultivating for countless years. It had to be the Samsara City Lord. What is Tianmu Emperor doing here? Yi Qinghan was puzzled. He deviated from the official road and came to the top of a mountain. Overlooking the army on the other side, he found Tianmu Emperor leading tens of thousands of troops and hundreds of guardians lying in ambush here. Tianmu Jiao was also beside him. They all looked very embarrassed, as if there was an irreconcilable hatred between them. Yi Qinghan and the divine bird didn't know that Tianmu Xian was already dead. His body had been devoured without leaving a trace. Tianmu Xian was a legitimate son. How could Tianmu Emperor let them go when he died like this? In order to find out what was going on, Yi Qinghan retreated, away from the ambush point, and quickly rushed to a city. The defense of the city tower was obviously stronger than before. Yi Qinghan caught an inspector and asked. Only then did he know that Tianmu Xian had been devoured by a dream beast and would never have a chance to be reincarnated. It's sad that Tianmu Emperor is so angry that he came to the entrance of District 14 to gamble with himself. Yi Qinghan shrugged. Are we going to go from the bottom of the reincarnation cliff again? The divine bird asked in fear. No need. We didn't know that the record of yin and yang could fly on the reincarnation cliff. Now that we know, we can fly over it. I don't think we'll disturb the reincarnation vortex at the bottom of the reincarnation cliff, Yi Qinghan said lightly. What if we do? The divine bird trembled and asked in a muffled voice. Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows as if he had been reminded. He said, let's experiment on you. After that, Yi Qinghan ran to the reincarnation cliff and activated the record of yin and yang. He directly pressed the divine bird on the record of yin and yang. The divine bird was so angry that it roared. Screw your ancestors. If I die, I won't let you go even if I become a ghost. The divine bird held the record of yin and yang tightly and didn't dare to look up. It was so scared that it almost fainted. It directly broke open and cursed. Whooshed at the record of yin and yang quickly rushed to the other side. It was scary but not dangerous. Yi Qinghan shrugged. With a thought, he threw the divine bird out of the record of yin and yang and summoned it back. He also left District 14 through the record of yin and yang. As soon as he left District 14, he was free to fly. Yi Qinghan rushed all the way, unimpeded. The masters of Samsara City in the 3 districts were all trying to catch Yi Qinghan, but they didn't know that he had already entered District 9 3 months later. District 9 was much smaller than the other districts. It was the place where the experts of the small worlds died. There were not many experts and even fewer sector masters. Yi Qinghan was like a fish in water. 1 month later, he entered District 1. In District 1, Yi Qinghan leisurely walked over with the divine bird in District 1. Go and inform the master that the yin and yang envoys have a message for him. Yi Qinghan said to the inspector outside the city. A large group of inspectors gathered around with fierce faces and scolded angrily. Who do you think you are? Do you think the master of the city is someone you can meet whenever you want? Slap. Yi Qinghan slapped him in the face and stepped on one of the inspectors. He said coldly, I can't defeat the Samsara City Governor of District 14 and beyond. But can I defeat the Samsara City Governor of District 1? There was dead silence at the city gate. A large group of inspectors was stunned and didn't dare to move. Tell him to come out and see me. Yi Qinghan ordered coldly. Yi Qinghan was so arrogant that the inspectors didn't dare to act rashly. A high-level inspector quickly retreated into the city. Soon, a high-level sector master appeared outside the city. He frowned and stared at Yi Qinghan. He said coldly, as a member of the envoy tribe, you should know the order of reincarnation. Why did you break it knowingly? Yi Qinghan said impatiently, cut the crap. I'm here to ask you to inform the city lord of the 16th district that I was the one who moved the riches and honor Samsara pool, and that I have already left hell. Tell him to come to the 9-realm sky and find me if he has the ability. What? You're the one who changed the order of the pool of riches and honor? How dare you? The master of Samsara City was shocked. He stared at Yi Qinghan with his eyes wide open. If he didn't know that he was no match for Yi Qinghan, he would have attacked him. Yi Qinghan snorted and turned to leave. He had no choice but to expose himself and provoke the Samsara City Governor of the 16th district. If the Samsara City Governor of the 16th district searched everywhere and found the dragon of resentment, he would be in big trouble. Chapter 1640. In order to not let the resentful dragon take the risk, Yi Qinghan took the initiative to expose his identity and provoked the 16th district, offending the 15th and 14th districts. Then he headed straight for the Bridge of Helplessness. When he arrived at the Bridge of Helplessness, he stepped on the small boat and left the other side of the Yellow Spring. His soul comprehended the order and connected with his fleshly body in the 9 worlds. Swish! The yin-yang profound record helped his soul to return to his body, quickly breaking through the order of reincarnation. Time and space reversed. His soul rushed out of the order of reincarnation with the help of the yin-yang profound record and entered the 9 worlds. 9-world sky, divine martial palace. Yen Ao led the army to guard the palace. It was divided into 3 layers of defense. The entire divine martial city was the first layer of defense, the palace was the second layer, and the main hall was the third layer. The second layer of defense was restricted to those who were not from the insane sect. As for the third layer of defense, only the inner sect members of the insane sect could enter. Even Jian Bugui was blocked outside. During these years, other than Yen Ao, the group of inner sect members were all in seclusion in the palace. Many of them were stuck at the peak of the pseudo-world overlord realm. However, they were unable to break through the world overlord realm because the nine-world sky had reached its limit. For several hundred years, Yi Qinghan was in seclusion, and Swan Padian seemed to have disappeared, never to appear again. However, the ocean of nothingness was not peaceful in these years. Huge waves would often rise, and angry roars would fill the sky, causing the nine worlds to flood, causing all living things to suffer unspeakably. As for that wild ghost, without Yi Qinghan's suppression, he had already left the divine martial city and wreaked havoc in the 9 continents, killing countless experts. Jian Bugui led 2 world overlords to chase after him for so many years but still couldn't find him. Report: the insane sect's branch in the extreme martial region has been uprooted by the wild ghost. All of them are dead. No one survived. Another piece of bad news came and alarmed Yen Ao. During these years, Yen Ao had been guarding the main palace and didn't allow anyone to come close. He was the one who made all the decisions. When he heard this news, a cold light flashed in his eyes. The corner of his mouth rose and his handsome face revealed a cold smile. Wild ghost, you are challenging my patience. If it wasn't for the fact that the desolate lord is in seclusion and I can't leave, I will make sure you die without a burial ground. Yen Ao clenched his fist and slowly stood up. Looking at the map on the city wall, he called over a few pseudo-sector Lord Great Perfection generals and coldly ordered, "The 4 of you will each lead 1,000,000 troops to guard Qingtian City, Qingyang Pass, God of Fortune City and Ocean Border City of Snow God Continent. Leave Snow City in front of Snow God Continent Crazy Sects, subsect empty and lure the wild ghost man in. As long as he enters Crazy Snow God Continent Crazy Sects subsect territory, immediately cooperate with the subsect to use the Frost Formation to freeze him and bring him back to Divine Martial City." Thus, Martial. The 4 generals quickly retreated after receiving the order, each leading 1,000,000 strong soldiers to rush to the 4 major cities of the Snow Divine Province. Just at this moment, a faint pressure was emitted from the Imperial Palace, shaking everyone's heart. Yen Ao's eyes immediately lit up because this aura was too familiar. Swish! Yen Ao sped all the way and quickly entered the inner palace. The group of people from Crazy Sect had already woken up and their faces were filled with joy. Yi Qinghan was also full of smiles. After all, his harvest from Hell reincarnation was not small. Not only did he send Emperor Yi and Bai Shaoxing to the riches and honor reincarnation pool, he also found the resentful dragon and woke it up. With his strength, it was very easy for him to become a guardian. Yen Ao Huangpeng, I have good news. You will definitely be happy when you know about it. Yi Qinghan smiled. Yen Ao and Huang Peng glanced at each other and raised their brows. Obviously, they didn't expect Yi Qinghan to find the resentful dragon. They asked, "What's the matter?" Yi Qinghan said excitedly, "I found the resentful dragon's soul. Haha, he has become a ghost god. Although he lost his mind and became a demon, I met him and he has now regained his mind. I sent him to Hell's 17th district to join the army first before reincarnating. If we have the chance to enter Eternal World, we might have a chance to meet again," said Yi Qinghan excitedly. Yen Ao and Huang Peng's pupils shrunk. Then they laughed wildly. It was rare for people like them to laugh so wantonly. Even the group of people from Crazy Sect couldn't help but laugh. "Pretty good luck, right?" Yi Qinghan said with a grin. "This is not just pretty good luck, it's simply too good. I never thought that we brothers would meet again." Yen Ao and Huang Peng laughed like innocent children. As they laughed, tears flowed out from their eyes. What? Suddenly, the divine bird rushed out. Its whole body was trembling as it stared at Yi Qinghan furiously. "This divine bird was almost scared to death by you. This time, you went to hell and saved the little master. You also found your old lover and saved my brother. On the other hand, I didn't get anything. Tell me, How are you going to compensate me? The divine bird shouted angrily. Yi Qinghan was in a good mood. He teased, "Didn't you also get to meet the eternal sovereign as you always wished?" The divine bird was so angry that its whole body was trembling. Its goal was not to meet the eternal sovereign but to flatter the eternal sovereign and get some benefits. However, it didn't get any benefits. Instead, it was scared out of its wits. This time, it went for wool and came home shorn. Gu Qingyu, Jiang Jingtian, and the others looked at the deflated appearance of the divine bird and laughed. It was very rare for a divine bird to suffer a loss. Yi Qinghan turned his head to look at the familiar faces around him, feeling very excited. He simply sat down and told everyone about the scene of hell's reincarnation. When he reached the most critical point, everyone held their breaths. That was an unknown, dangerous, and mysterious world. After death, everyone would enter another world. There really was a reincarnation cycle, but most people's souls would be reconstructed after death, which was equivalent to the person completely disappearing. Those who could maintain a complete soul body were either too stubborn or too strong in cultivation. Everyone listened with great interest. Yi Qinghan was also in high spirits. When he mentioned the eternal sovereign, even Yan Ao's face was full of expectation. His eyes were wide open. After some reminiscing, everyone calmed down. Yan Ao spoke about the matter of the wild ghost. He was very angry. When Yi Qinghan heard that the wild ghost had brought disaster to the human world, he also blamed himself. After all, this guy left the valley because of him. When his soul left his body, he should have directly suppressed this guy. Bastard, he dares to provoke this father. See how I deal with him. Yi Qinghan angrily smashed the table and suddenly stood up. Boss, at this time, I think we shouldn't look for the wild ghost to settle the account. Instead, we should find a way to kill Swanpatian first. Wild ghost can kill people, but Swanpatian can destroy them. Huang Peng reminded. Yes, boss. I agree with Huang Peng's proposal. Yan Ao immediately seconded. Jiang Jingtian, Gu Qingyu, and the others also expressed their agreement. Swanpatian was too worrisome. If they didn't kill him, they wouldn't be able to calm their hearts. Yi Qinghan thought for a moment, then nodded and said, "That's good. Countless old debts have piled up. It's time to deal with them." Chapter 1641. In the 9 continents, floods soared to the sky and ancient trees pierced through the clouds. Most of the humans did not choose to live in groups because the wild ghost liked to devour a huge city, taking away the spirit chi and life source of all living things. Instead, the experts who lived deep in the mountains were the safest. All the big cities were filled with rubble and ruins. There were very few experts and most of them were ordinary people with high cultivation. Yi Qinghan brought a group of experts and rushed towards the Snow Divine Province. Looking at the ruined cities, he could not help but frown. It's all done by the wild ghost. They eat the essence, blood, and life source of humans as food. I have been unable to split myself to deal with them. They are getting stronger and smarter now. That's why they didn't take the bait when I laid down the arrays. Yan Ao explained. It's fine. I left something on them. As long as I see them, I can instantly kill them. Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed coldly as he recalled the fire source he left in Yi Qinghan's sea of consciousness. If he wanted to kill him, he wouldn't even have the chance to escape. I'm afraid that their intelligence is too high and will eliminate the hidden danger you left behind. This kind of poisonous creature has never been seen before. It actually has the intelligence of a human and can even possess a human body. It can control a half-dead body to fight for it. The strength it can display is actually not any weaker than when the body was alive. We have to be careful. Yan Ao reminded in a low voice. Yi Qinghan nodded and continued moving forward. As he watched the cities turn into analysis, he was unable to suppress the anger in his heart. God Lord! Look, it's the God Lord and his brothers. After a few hundred years, they have finally appeared. Oh great God Lord! Please save the world. What, in a ruined city, tens of thousands of people were kneeling and roaring at Yi Qinghan's group. Kacha! Yi Qinghan clenched his fist and did not reply. His eyes flashed coldly as he said, "Seems like I have to deal with the wild ghost first." After speaking, Yi Qinghan spread out his divine sense and merged his soul with the heavens. Snow Divine Province was covered by his divine sense, but he did not find any traces of the wild ghost. Ultimate Martial Province. What his divine sense was like light, covering a large area of the ultimate martial province, every corner of the world could not escape the divine sense's search. Half a day later, Yi Qinghan opened his eyes and looked at the torn danger zone, the most dangerous place. He calmly said, "Found it? Let's go." Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Yi Qinghan led dozens of experts and rushed towards the lacerated danger zone. The wild ghost man was currently tearing apart the danger zone and absorbing the life source of humans. His cultivation base was growing stronger and stronger. After devouring thousands of huge cities and slaughtering countless living beings, he actually reached the middle stage of the Sector Lord realm. Ordinary Sector Lords weren't his match at all. However, just as he was about to refine the life essence, he suddenly opened his terrifying eyes. A sinister smile appeared on his sinister face. He looked up at the figure outside the danger zone and said hoarsely, "Oh, old friend, long time no see. I thought you were dead." The person who came was Yi Qinghan. In order not to alarm the wild ghost man, he didn't even bring Gu Qingyu and the rest. Seeing the wild ghost man's evil smile, his mouth twitched and he coldly asked, "Seems like you still remember me. Do you still remember what I said to you?" "What? I don't remember." "No, I remember. You said that you would help me capture that Swan Padian and let me control his body. Does that still count?" Wild Ogre didn't seem to care and asked in a sinister tone. "Ha," Yi Qinghan laughed. The cold light in his eyes was even more dazzling as he said, "I said that you can't touch the people of the 9 continents. You wanted to devour the life source and energy. I sent you to the eternal world. Unfortunately, you didn't take my words to heart. Let's end our cooperation here. You can die too." However, the wild ghost man sneered in disdain. "Huang, if you fall out with me now, I guarantee that you won't be able to bear the consequences. Do you think that you can kill me just by leaving a strand of life source in my sea of consciousness? Remember, humans aren't the only ones with intelligence." Inda boom. Yi Qinghan waved his hand and summoned Berserk. It tore apart space and earth, splitting mountains and rivers as it charged towards the wild ghost man. "Do I need to use such tricks to kill you?" With a furious roar, the blade light seemed like it was going to split the world and destroy everything. It was terrifying and tyrannical. Just a strand of blade chi was enough to shatter mountains and crush ancient trees. Boom boom boom. The wild ghost man stamped his feet and the mountain rocks turned into divine weapons that charged towards the berserk blade. It shook space and time, causing the mountains and rivers to change color. Mournful cries could be heard everywhere. What? The mountain rocks were shattered by the berserk blade's aura. Berserk blade slashed towards the wild ghost man. The wild ghost man laughed in disdain. He pulled out a divine sword from thin air and slashed towards the berserk blade in Yi Qinghan's hand. Inda bang! Kacha. The blade and sword collided. In a split second, energy rushed to the heavens. The sound of the collision was like thunder and lightning. Everything within 1,000 miles was shattered. The space vortex tore everything into pieces and disappeared in an instant. Break! The veins on Yi Qinghan's right arm bulged as a terrifying power erupted. Berserk blade was even more ruthless. It directly broke the divine sword in his hand and slashed at the wild ghost man's arm. Puchi. Berserk blade was extremely sharp. Even with Yi Qinghan's strength, it still couldn't cut off the wild ghost man's arm. It was like slashing into sticky water, unable to move an inch. Roared at the wild ghost man screamed as his body was sent flying. His body had already reached the level of indestructible steel. After being soaked in poison for countless years, it was as hard to destroy as a boundary artifact. However, Berserk Blade's destructive power was even more exaggerated than he had imagined. A strand of energy spread to his limbs and bones, killing the poison. Bang! Yi Qinghan kicked the wild ghost man's chest as he flew backwards. He stomped on the ground, causing the ground to shatter and collapse. Een! The blade swept across, cutting through the heavens and destroying the earth. It went for the wild ghost man's neck, wanting to cut it off in one strike. The wild ghost man was shocked. He reached out with 2 hands to grab Berserk blade. He covered his neck with his arms and shouted in fear, "Huang, are you trying to burn the bridge after crossing the river? If you kill me, who will help you deal with Sui Patin?" Bang! Poochie! Berserk blade slashed into the wild ghost man's arm. The flesh that was as hard as a boundary artifact was torn apart, and even the bones were broken. Roared at the wild ghost man's face was malevolent. He spat out a strand of poison towards Yi Qinghan. Xiu xiu xiu. Yi Qinghan's figure moved and disappeared from his sight. His voice was as loud as a bell as he coldly said, "Right now, I don't need you to kill Sui Panin. I originally wanted to let you live, but you've repeatedly challenged my bottom line. Since you're not afraid of death, I'll grant you your wish." Fire. Hua! The flames burned the heavens and swallowed the torn land. It wrapped the wild ghost man tightly. The surrounding temperature was raised to 1,000,000 degrees, able to incinerate everything. The wild ghost man screamed miserably in the flames. He continuously begged for mercy. Unfortunately, he had offended Yi Qinghan, an existence that killed without batting an eye. He was even more demonic than a demon. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.